Dale Earnhardt once famously remarked, "The winner isn't necessarily the one with the fastest car, it's the one who refuses to lose." After 10 races and countless miles, these seasoned warriors find themselves at the culmination of the season, all with a singular goal in mind: clinching the prestigious title of Slingshot Racing Champion. This season has been nothing short of intense, witnessing the emergence of numerous contenders, boasting no fewer than 7 victors and a plethora of close calls. Josh Ward burst onto the scene with 2 wins in the first 4 races.
Ward wins it before Randy Bechdel.
While familiar names like Smith and Bechdel quickly found their
season.
way. It took the reigning champion, Jacob Bradley, 7 races to return to the familiar embrace of victory lane. And who could forget the dominance displayed by the 70 car on the challenging road course in Canada? It wasn't until the 9th race that the former champion Wilson claimed his first victory of the season. And then came the unforgettable finish that solidified Tompkins' position in the chase. Excelling in the regular season serves as a gateway to the chase, but reaching the zenith demands more. As the season reaches its crescendo, expectations swell like the tide. Patience and stamina, revered virtues in this grand theater of speed, shall stand as the guiding principles for the chosen one. Yet, amidst the trials and tribulations, only one driver will ascend to the pinnacle, laying claim to the throne atop the mountain. And now, here we stand, tonight, where 12 drivers reset their season, eagerly anticipating the second encounter with destiny, their eyes set on championship glory. Over the course of 5 races, each presenting its own unique challenges, from treacherous corners to unforgiving walls, every lap holds significance, or a single mistake could shatter their dreams. These drivers must navigate nearly flawless races if they are to seize the crown at Charlotte. Who among them will prove worthy? 5 races, 1 champion.
If it's Tuesday, that means it's the Apex Energy Truck Series presented by Hank Thomas Performance from Slingshot Racing League. Welcome, everybody. I'm Ellis Thomas alongside Chris Smith in the booth tonight. We're bringing you live racing action in the NASCAR trucks from Rockingham Speedway for the Hank Thomas Performance 200. Rockingham Speedway, nicknamed The Rock, opened its gates in the Sandhills of North Carolina in October of 1965. Originally called North Carolina Motor Speedway, the track got its start as a flat 1-mile oval. By 1969, the track was extensively reconfigured to a high-banked, D-shaped oval just over a mile in length. The track would eventually be renamed the North Carolina Speedway. One of the track's most memorable moments came in its final race, the Subway 400, formerly the Peach Blossom 500. It was the final race of the Rock in 2004. In that race, Matt Kenseth held off then rookie Casey Kane on the last lap to win only by 10 one-thousandths of a second. It was the closest finish in NASCAR history. Over time, attendance began to sag, and after losing one of its 2 races, it completely closed in after that 2004 season. It's occasionally held some local racing since, but just a couple of years ago, it seemed like NASCAR might never return to the track. However, Rockingham was granted development funds from the state of North Carolina, and it's begun a redevelopment project which very well might lead to Cup racing returning in the next couple of years. Chris, L.G. DeWitt, the man who arguably saved the speedway from financial ruin back in 1964, did so with money from his peach-growing empire. But drivers tonight are arguably going to find this track and their cars anything but peachy. What can we expect to see drivers struggle with for 200 tough laps tonight?
Well, this is a very, very unique track, 0.97 miles. Don't see many tracks with that type of track length, and both ends are shaped very differently from one another. Turns 1 and 2, when you come off of turn 2, it's like the track really, really narrows up. Turns 3 and 4, very, very sweeping. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of the lines that some of these drivers are going to be running and when we get to some of our key stories here in just a second. But we expect about 70 laps on a fuel tank tonight, about 2 stops probably over the course of the race. Got 29 trucks here tonight, and you see that down there at the bottom of our pre-race race analysis down there. High tire degradation. That's going to be a really, really key story tonight around a tough track. This track's like sandpaper. It will really wear these tires out. So these drivers are going to have their hands full around the rock tonight.
Hands full is an understatement, Chris. You mentioned some of those stories we're going to be following. The biggest one is tonight is the kickoff round of the chase for the championship. The first time we've ever done this. You saw that interest piece at the beginning of the broadcast. We're going to touch more on who those drivers are and what that chase is going to look like here shortly. But right before that, it's time for everyone's pre-race favorite, the playing of the national anthem. Everyone rise and remove your caps if able. We'll be back on the other end of the anthem. All right, we're back here at Rockingham Motor Speedway in North Carolina. Tonight is the beginning of the first ever Slingshot Racing Chase for the Championship. We're going to take a look at some stories to follow. That's our very first one. Chris, let's take a moment to explain to fans watching tonight what this chase is all about. Essentially, it's an opportunity for the top 12 who finished 1 through 12 in the regular season to have another chance to get back into the championship hunt. Essentially, we took the top 12 and we reset them 1 through 12, 5-point descending increments. So if you were second place, you're now 5 points back. If you're third place, you're 10 points out of the lead. 2 bonus points for every win drivers got over the course of the season got accrued onto their overall points total. And you can see the drivers in the chase: Aaron Smith, Scotty Sobczak, Johnny Rapp, Patrick Colby, Bechdel, Wilson, Jones, Chris Pierce, Jacob Bradley, Josh Ward, Scott Tompkins, and Evan Pienta. These 12 drivers still have a chance at the championship. You can see, you'll note their cars not only by yellow in the ticker tonight on the left hand of the screen, so if you're looking for chase drivers, you can find them denoted in the yellow color on the left hand ticker, but they're also going to have a white Apex Energy banner on their windshield to denote that they're in the chase tonight. Tonight's the first race of the chase, Rockingham. We move on to the road course at Sonoma next week. Third race is Chicagoland. Darlington's going to be a tough race, number 4. And then it all ends and culminates in the night race at Charlotte later on next month, Chris. It's going to be an awesome final 5 races. And you can look at the reset points here. The standings. Aaron Smith is your points leader. You can see he gained an edge because of the bonus points he got for wins over Randy Bechdel, but only 60 points separate first through 12th, Chris. Aaron Smith all the way back to Evan Pienta in 12th, just 61 points. If you're one of those final 4 or 5 drivers in the chase tonight, Chris, how important is getting a good finish and making some noise here in race number 1 of the chase?
It's really important because, I mean, you are within striking distance. This is now anybody's race, but you can't let Aaron Smith, you can't let Randy Bechdel, Jacob Bradley, those guys that are up there near the front, you can't let them extend on you. You can't let them go even further than what they currently are. So this is a very, very important race because you do have some ground to make up in order to contend for this championship.
Hey, and speaking of other races going on, we know not everyone made the chase, but that doesn't mean there's not anything on the line. For the first time ever, we're also doing something called the Butt Kicker Bracket Challenge, where drivers essentially were seeded 12th all the way through the rest of the points, and they're facing off one by one in a 5-week challenge, with the ultimate winner winning a Butt Kicker Gamer Plus haptic feedback package. You'll be able to attach that to their rig and feel the car, everything it's doing. Butt Kicker's an awesome product. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com for more information. But we're going to be bringing you some more about those matchups as the race goes on tonight. Chris, some other stories we're going to be following as the warm-up comes to an end. Tires. Drivers are going to be saving their tires, or at least doing their best to do so. You've run a race last week. How difficult is it to save those tires over the course of a long run?
It's very difficult. It's one of the more difficult tracks in all of NASCAR racing, all of NASCAR sim racing to save tires on. This track is just, there's a lot of different lanes that you can run, and sometimes they can lure you into that, and that's kind of ties to our next 2 points right here. This is a long race. 200 laps around here. You have to keep in mind your long run pace and your long run speed, because this track does have a tendency to go green for a long time.
It does have a tendency to go green for a long time, and drivers are going to have to figure out where they want to run and what's going to help them save the tires the most, up high on the bottom. Each driver is going to kind of sort that out for themselves as we go along. Speak of sorting things out, let's sort out the starting grid. Who's going to be starting where tonight? Presented by Evan Pienta Designs. The EPD Designs Pole Award winner, Aaron Smith, your points leader, starting number 1 in that HTP machine in the HTP 200 tonight. Justin Wilson going to be starting 2nd. Randy Bechdel 3rd in the number 51. Scotty Sobczak 4th in that 81. Wesley Pistol outside the chase, but still racing for pride and a victory this season, starting in 5th. Rye Jones starting 6th. Patrick Colby in the 9 winds up 7th. Chris Pierce in the 65 will be 8th. Scotty Tompkins 20 in the 25 starts 9th. Bradley starts 10th. Josh Ward 11th. Patrick Piper, good qualifying effort for him, starts 12th. Johnny Rapp going to be starting 13th. Dustin Scruggs 14th. He's shown some speed this evening. Sean Johnson 15th. Ryan Hinkle is going to be 16th. Lee Campbell 17th. Matt Kuntz in the 13 lines up on the outside of row 9. Matt Scherf 19th. Evan Pienta going to be starting 20th. Chris, we're going to let the rest of the starting grid scroll around on the bottom as we watch drivers make their way down the backstretch. I believe we've got a single pace lap here, so kind of a quick one, a quick grid, and these drivers are going to be anxious to take the green flag. Lots of chase drivers starting up front, Chris. We know these trucks can be a little bit loose in the opening lap, so that's going to be something we are keeping an eye on, especially as the green flag flies early. Pace car pulls off. We're getting ready to kick off the chase here at Rockingham. Green flag is out. We are racing in North Carolina for Slingshot Racing League and the Hank Thomas Performance 200. Drivers head down into one. I see Evan Pienta making it 3 wide back there already, but Aaron Smith tries to clear Justin Wilson on the outside. Battle for the lead is on. Wilson on the outside, Smith down on the inside, car loose. That's the 65 of Chris Pierce, a chase racer. Gets it gathered back up, but boy, that was a moment where all drivers held their breath for a moment. Meanwhile, that's going to give Justin Wilson the opportunity to ride that outside line to the front, Chris. Wilson head of steam on the outside, makes that pass for the lead after starting second. We mentioned it. Drivers going to be finding their way around the track in differing lines tonight. You saw kind of a contrast between the high and low line there. And in that situation, Wilson, the driver from Florida, he came out on top. No pun intended.
Yeah, he did, and he's looking to take control of this race right here. And as Patrick Piper into the wall back there around the 8th spot, creates a little bit of a stack-up effect. Got a couple of chase drivers right behind him, Josh Ward and Patrick Colby. They all get it straightened out, and I think that everybody's okay. But yeah, he wants to take control of this race. We saw Justin Wilson back in our first season of Slingshot Racing, back when we were running the 87 cars around here. We saw him be very dominant in a race here at Rockingham. I'm not surprised at all to see him try to get out front and take control of this field.
Yeah, really good run right now going for Justin Wilson. Aaron Smith second. Scotty Sobczak, we got to show the 81 truck some love. I know he's got some family members watching. Chris, I just feel like he's the sleeper. I feel like if he could go out and get a win tonight, or maybe a first or second place finish, or third place rather, we could be talking about someone who is a serious contender for the championship. He's just kind of been there, top 3, top 4 all season long as we ride on board with the driver of that number 81 Pine Mountain Auto Supply truck. He's running some fast laps, some of the fastest laps of the race, Chris. That last time by, he had the fastest lap of the top 4 drivers. So that 81, he's getting up on that wheel, Chris, and he wants to go after a championship starting tonight here at Rockingham. Really good run going for the driver of the number 81, as he is essentially in the tire tracks of Aaron Smith and that bright number 70 right in front of him. Good run going for both of those drivers right now.
Yeah, he's running really, really strong. And, we're going to keep an eye on tonight the pace of a lot of these drivers, especially these guys who are up here near the front right now. Are they going to be able to stay here? I would really love it if we could get like a long green flag run to start this race out right here, because I think it'll show you the guys that are really, really good at being patient on the throttle. This track right here really rewards people, as we got a battle going on right here for the 9th spot between Patrick Colby and Josh Ward. This track really rewards people who are patient on the throttle. If you can wait before picking up that throttle, maybe a split second longer than that guy in front of you. No, it doesn't sound like it's going to be very productive, but it will do wonders for saving that right front tire over the course of a long run.
And
some contact!
Again, Josh Ward, chase, contender. Is that Scott Tompkins? Who is that?
Yeah, it's Scott Tompkins.
That was Scott Tompkins in the 25, and caution is out here at Rockingham early. We're going to see what happened there. Return to the scene of the crime.
I think that this was a mistake on Scott Tompkins' part. I think he was just trying to run really, really close to Josh Ward. Oh, yeah, and there is some net code as well. This early in the race, probably don't want to be running that close together because, net code is a thing in iRacing, and it kind of bites these guys right here. They do make a little bit of that left rear to right front contact, and unfortunately for Josh Ward, he is going to get the bulk of the contact right there.
That was a hard hit, and that might, Chris, be race ending for the driver of the number 92. He set 6th in points before that crash here on lap number 8. Scott Tompkins was 9th, so 2 drivers top 9 in the chase involved in early incidents here on lap 10. I don't think we're going to see any takers, Chris, but I know that's going to be frustrating on the 92. You mentioned it, that it is early in the race, and whereas there was some net code involved, running that close can be a little bit challenging, and mistakes can be made pretty easily. We're going to see if anyone comes and takes tires. I think probably folks are going to want to save them this early, though.
Yeah, I think
so. I'm not very good at race strategy, but I don't think I'm taking tires at this point as we watch drivers cruise around under caution here. Just 10 laps in to the 200 laps we're going to be running here at Rockingham Speedway in the Hank Thomas Performance. 200. Justin Wilson is your leader, taking the lead on lap 2 from Aaron Smith. Scotty Sobczak is 3rd, Randy Bechdel 4th, Jacob Bradley 5th. First non-chase racer in the group, Chris, is Wesley Pistol sitting in the 6th position. He dropped a spot, but still got a top 6 run going. I know he was disappointed after last week's race at Daytona, just barely missed the chase by a couple of points, but back to fight for that Buck Kicker bracket challenge and that Buck Kicker Gamer Plus package tonight. So Wesley Pistol, we've never been big fans of that paint scheme, but how's Tennessee doing in the March Madness right now, Chris?
They're still alive.
They're still alive, and Alabama is as well. We got 2 college.
I was about to say, you know who else is still alive?
Alabama's still there. We've got 3 college basketball cars. I'm looking for Patrick O'Toole out here. He's running a Keene State car as well as what's the other
UConn
college? UConn. Is UConn still alive?
I will admit that I'm not 100% sure.
Hey, let us know in the chat if you're watching right now. Is UConn still alive in the March Madness NCAA tournament? Both men and women's, I suppose. It is Women's History Month as well, so we got to talk about college basketball for men and women. I'm always surprised that they do it at the same time because the tournaments are going on simultaneously, right?
That's right. As Pace's car peels off, and we're about to go green.
Same time, drivers starting here on lap number 11. Justin Wilson spins the tires. Patrick Colby, Dustin Scruggs back in 9th and 10th. Contact, but everyone gets it gathered up. I think, Chris, that all started with the number 58 truck getting a slow restart, stacked up the field behind him. Everyone gets it in check. We are back underway here, but there were some tense moments on that restart. I had flashbacks and PTSD of Dover from a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, man. Let's not draw any memories from that race back, but yeah, we're clean and green in a way right now, and hopefully we can stay that way. Scotty Sobczak's going to make a move up into the second spot.
Jacob Bradley and Aaron Smith close contact, but you pointed the way to 81, Chris. He is moving up through the field as we watch Evan Pienta dart out to the backstretch there. Jacob Bradley goes outside of Aaron Smith. Again, we're seeing a different approach in lines. Jacob Bradley tries to get some momentum. That move's going to work. Meanwhile, right in front of them, Scotty Sobczak trying to go for the lead down into turn 1. It's the 81 on the inside and the number 58 of Justin Wilson on the outside. Wilson made the outside work earlier, take the lead. Can he follow suit here and back that performance up? He's going to let the 81 in. He'll slide into second place. New leader at the point. Truck number 81, Jacob Bradley, situated in 3rd, right in the tire tracks of Justin Wilson. He's going to try to see if he can take advantage of that weakness that he saw there. Aaron Smith inside of Randy Bechdel. Bechdel right on the outside. Good battles here going on in the top 5. All of these cars or trucks are chasers. If you're looking on the ticker, top 6 are chase drivers right now, Chris.
Yeah, we got a battle going on for 7th right now. Rye Jones trying to get around Wesley Pistol. He's going to complete that pass to make it the top 7 being chase drivers right now.
So speed early for the chase drivers. We've seen a couple involved in incidents early on as well, back on lap number 8, Chris. But right now, single file racing outside of second place, where you got Jacob Bradley on the inside trying to gain a position on his teammate, Justin Wilson. It's the number 50 and the number 58 side by side. Wilson continues to roll that outside line across the front straightaway down into turn number 1, where he's on the outside, but it's going to be Bradley who prevails on the inside, back to single file on the front, on the backstretch right now. Looking through the track at the other battles going on. I'm trying to get my cameras to work correctly. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, everybody's running really, really close right now, and what we're seeing is some guys can move up to the top to complete passes, but as soon as they complete those passes, they're not staying up there. They're going back to the bottom. Well, as soon as I say that, here goes Scotty Sobczak and Randy Bechdel up to the top in 1 and 2. We're going to pay really close attention to the line in 1 and 2 tonight. There's a lot of talk about that in pre-race, a lot of talk about that before the race between drivers. What type of line do you want to run down in 1 and 2? Do you want to try to run like a diamond line in a way where you try to swoop down almost like turns 1 and 2 at Darlington? Or you just want to try to roll the bottom all the way around the corner?
No caution is out on the track. That might have been for Patrick O'Toole or Cordell Loughran. Oh, Patrick O'Toole. Hard shot into the wall, Chris. That is going to leave a mark. He just got loose. And he collects Cordell Loughran. And this was interesting, Chris, because this was actually one of the butt kicker bracket challenge battles that we were keeping an eye on. O'Toole was going up against Lofgren in this, and I think Lofgren might come out on the better end of this despite getting some damage.
It looks like Cordell Lofgren's on the outside of Matt Scherf here, and don't know if he lost perspective on the wall here, but he kind of gets a little bit loose on the straightaway and kind of tags the wall, overcorrects, head on into the wall. Unfortunately, Cordell Lofgren, Ryan Hinkle maybe picking up a little bit of damage as well as he rolls through. But yeah, Cordell Lofgren and Patrick O'Toole, a couple drivers who are up against each other in that bracket challenge, involved in the crash here. I think you're right. I think that Cordell Lofgren's probably going to get away with it with less damage.
But both drivers not going to come away unscathed on this lap number 20 incident here. Caution is out. Chris, 20 laps in, I still don't think we've seen enough green flag laps for these drivers to come in for a pit stop. Right now, I'm not seeing any indication that that is going to happen. So let's take a quick break. We're going to hear from our presenting partner of the race and presenting partner of the series, Hank Thomas Performance, who does supply Sunoco race fuels to local short track drivers in North Carolina, where we are.
Hank Thomas Performance is a Sunoco Race Fuel Master Distributor located in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Our territory covers North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, as well as the Panhandle of Florida, providing quality Sunoco Race Fuel to many track and dealers throughout the region. In addition to Sunoco Race Fuel, Hank Thomas Performance distributes high-quality methanol and at-track supplies, as well as miscellaneous gas containers and everyday products that the at-track racer wants and needs as they compete at their local asphalt and dirt ovals, plus drag strips. You can reach us at 800-848-HANK, or if you're in our area, come out and visit us at the shop.
All right, back here from Rockingham, North Carolina, race number 11, kickoff race of the chase for Slingshot Racing League in the Apex Energy Truck Series presented by Hank Thomas Performance. Gonna get getting ready for a green flag restart here in about a lap and a half. Leaders working their way down the backstretch behind the pace car. Scotty Sobczak is your leader. Jacob Bradley second. Justin Wilson third. Bechdel is fourth. Aaron Smith is fifth. And Chris, you mentioned it. Top 7 drivers are chase drivers. The first non-chase driver is Wesley Pistol. But let's talk about some big movers as we get ready for this restart. You asked me during caution, did Jacob Bradley start 10th? He's up 8 positions already, and he absolutely did. Just in 20 laps, less than that of green flag racing, that number 50 car or truck, he's got some speed.
Yeah, he really does. He was really, really rolling nice right there. Not afraid to go to the top to try to complete passes. Another driver that we talked about during the commercial break right there was a guy who's moved up 14 positions since the start of the race, Evan Pienta, from 20th all the way to 6th.
20th all the way to 6th. And one of the biggest other movers, James Danforth, is up from 24th all the way to 12th. So we got some guys getting after it tonight. I know James Danforth particularly is going after that Apex Energy Hard Charger Award given to the driver who averages the most improved positions each race over the course of the season. But right now, Scotty Sobczak, he's got the position that matters. He is going to be your leader on this restart in that number 81, just about half a lap away. Drivers in tow of the pace car working their way into turn number 3. We're going to try to get a good green flag run here where we can see some tire wear start to play a role. Don't know if it's going to get as crazy as it did at Bristol in the real NASCAR Cup Series a couple of weeks ago, but we're definitely going to have tire wear on our hands tonight. Scotty Sobczak, Jacob Bradley, pace car peels off. It's going to be Sobczak, the control car. He hits that throttle. We are back underway at Rockingham in race number 11 of the Apex Energy Truck Series. Sobczak soars it down into turn 1. He's your leader. Bradley on the outside for second. Wilson inside tries to take it. That battle diminishes a little bit down the backstretch. Randy Bechdel is going to be 4th. Battle for 5th between Aaron Smith and Evan Pienta. These restarts have been a little bit crazier than I expected, Chris. These drivers are getting after it on these restarts. top 12 or so stretching out to single file right now, but Lee Campbell, I see him and Matt Scherf duking it out back there in 13th and 14th position. Good little scrum going back and forth between the number 4 and the number 14 right now. Oh, that was Scott Tompkins again, I believe, who might have caused this crash between Lee Campbell, Sean Johnson, Patrick Colby. A chase driver, no yellow, is out though right now. Patrick Colby's going to be heated after that one, Chris. He is sideways down the backstretch. Green flag is still out, and that is going to be a killer for the number 9 championship hopes. We're going to take a second to go back and watch what exactly happened here between the number 25 and the number 14. Looked like that 25 was trying to work his way through the field and just cut across the nose.
Yeah, he just misjudged it. He caught him in the left rear as he's trying to make this pass to the inside, and just hooks Lee Campbell into the wall. Lee gets turned down in front of Jay Hageman. Looks like Patrick Colby just sliding right there. And yeah, a lot of valuable track position lost for Patrick Colby. We're going to go back live here to show you where Patrick Colby is at, and he is all by his lonesome. Actually, that is Lee Campbell right there, and here is Patrick Colby coming off of turn 2 while the leaders are entering turn 1 right now. So he is very, very close to going a lap down already.
Yeah, and he's going to have to do what he can. It's unfortunate for him that that happened out of the racing line, at least his car being sideways on the track. He's going to have to hope for a caution at this point, Chris. The number 9, Patrick Colby, came into the chase 10th in points. He's going to need a caution quickly if he's not going to go a lap down. Not really sure how much damage that number 9 truck took on, but boy, Scott Tompkins has found his way into a couple of incidents early on after starting 9th in the chase points, Chris. He's feeling that pressure. We mentioned it in pre-race. These drivers who are 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, they had to make some noise tonight. A lot of pressure on those guys, and it's gotten to Tompkins a little bit early on in the first 25, 30 laps or so. Interesting battle going on right now. I'm looking at, it looks like Dustin Scruggs and Rye Jones battle for 5th position. Scruggs is going to be on the inside of Jones. Jones working that outside line in that black and purple number 91 driven Bay Life truck. He's going to make his way by the number 11 of Dustin Scruggs. Aaron Smith, a little further back than we're used to seeing him, back in 7th position, Chris. Smith started 2nd. He's all the way back to 7th right now. I wonder what's going on in that 70 truck. You think we got some tire saving going on, tire management?
Yeah, it looks like to me that Aaron's just trying to be very, very patient and running the bottom right here. He is, just trying to roll the bottom of 1 and 2, whereas some other guys have, gone up higher, trying to run that sort of run down the hill line coming off of turn 2. That line is fast and it does work, but it will really, really hurt the tires. Look at him down here in turns 1 and 2, just rolling the bottom, just being very patient on the throttle. The thing is that the bottom is the shorter way around, and you don't have to use as much throttle to run down there as you do up on the top. Up higher, you have to use more throttle to try to make up the distance, make up the ground for the fact that it's a longer way around, and that's what kills the right front tire.
Battle going on for 8th position, Wesley Pistol and Evan Pienta. Evan is a chase driver, the number 94, not tonight. Evan Pienta working that outside. How patient are you if you're Evan Pienta and Wesley Pistol here? You've got a chase driver and a non-chase driver. If you're Evan, are you getting racy here, or are you just going to let the number 94 go on and do his business?
No, I think that you have to be patient in a race like this. I mean, there's a long ways to go, and, like you said at the beginning of this thing, as Patrick Piper a little bit loose, try to avoid rear contact with Evan Pienta. I think you have to be patient in a race like this. I think that you just have to let the race come to you. 200 laps around here is a long ways, and you got to keep those tires underneath you for a long run, because this thing, I've been saying it does have a tendency to go green. So fingers crossed it does, so we can actually see what these drivers can do on a long run.
Yeah, we're looking like we're right around the point where we had a caution last time, so maybe we can make it through this danger zone, to speak, as we watch a couple of cars work around each other. Scott Tompkins, this number 65 of Chris Pierce, watching this battle going on with Patrick Piper in the 10th position. Piper had a good run going last week, had a good qualifying effort tonight, looking if he can continue to capitalize on that, Chris. Chris Pierce is a chase driver in that Apex Energy truck tonight. Good run. Different scheme going on. Looks like we've got the Apex black and blue scheme on the number 65, making a comeback for the chase, I guess.
Yeah, he's got a little bit different scheme right here, looking really, really solid out here on the track. And looks like to me he's also just trying to, just take it easy and keep after. He gets a little bit loose right there off the turn 4.
Just a little bit loose off turn 4. I like that penguin on the back of that Patrick Piper mobile, by the way. Hey, speaking of Patrick Piper, this is another battle we're talking about with the Butt Kicker Bracket Challenge tonight. Piper was going up against Jay Heishman. Jay Heishman not having a bad run back in 16th, so 10th and 16th. Right now, obviously, Patrick Piper would advance, but this is a close battle going on between these drivers for the Butt Kicker Bracket Challenge. Heishman having a good run back in the 16th, or now 15th. He just moved up a position, got by Chris Blassie in a battle for 15th. They're actually racing right now. Good little battle going on between the 15 and the 06. Heishman on that white truck on the inside. Blassie in the wall. Is he going to get it corralled? He gets it corralled in time. Tony Caputo, Sean Johnson, Josh Ward all have to take evasive maneuvers. Sean Johnson almost goes up into the number 92 of Josh Ward there for a second. Man, Josh Ward has been a pinball out there tonight, Chris. He cannot find a break. Tony Caputo in the wall right in front of them. Blassie can't get off the throttle fast enough. And boy, these guys are going at it here on lap number 39. Coming to lap 40, Chris. We hit the hornet's nest right at the right time.
Yeah, Tony Caputo in front of these guys. He was just kind of, I guess he bounced off the wall, and they really created a stack-up effect. And, luckily they all got it straightened out. And, man, if I'm Josh Ward right here, I'm just looking to get some clean racetrack around me.
Clean racetrack is what you want to see if you're the driver of that number 92. He is a chase driver, came in 6th tonight. Just looking to work his way, Chris. I think after the eventful start to tonight, Ward's going to be happy with the top 10 if he can work his way back up into the top 10 at some point, Chris. So good run going for him right now. Nice little battle. Want to jump back to 25th and 26th position. We got Ryan Hinkle and Lee Campbell in a little duel back here. Lee Campbell in that blue number 14 working his way by Ryan Hinkle. And I believe this is one of the battles we were keeping our eye on, or Hinkle might get an automatic advance tonight. No, Hinkle is going up against Matt Scherf in the Butt Kicker Bracket Challenge. So Matt Scherf running 16th, Hinkle 26th. Hinkle's got some work to do, Chris. We saw him have a lot of speed in practice and had a pretty good qualifying effort. Hinkle started in the 16th position, so not sure what's going on with the number 99 truck right now, if he had some damage from an earlier crash potentially, but struggling a little bit. Gets his way back by Lee Campbell to kind of reassume the charge back up front, but not looking good for him right now.
He does have a little bit of right front damage. He did catch the right front in one of those crashes. We've had a couple of them, and I can't remember which one it was, but he did nick the right front a little bit in that one. Of course, Lee Campbell, he was involved in that deal with Scott Tompkins and Patrick Colby. So he is dealing with a little bit of damage as well to his right side. But yeah, Ryan Hinkle's going to have his eyes on Matt Scherf right here, running in the 16th position in that 4 truck. Hopefully he can get up there and give him a little bit of challenge to advance in that Butt Kicker Bracket Challenge.
Absolutely. Another driver in that Butt Kicker Bracket Challenge, Matt Kuntz. I'm seeing some Kuntz fans in the chat. They want to see the number 13 truck, Chris. He's right now running 23rd. Probably not as high as the fans would want, but we got Owen Garvey saying he's Max Verstappen. Well, Max Verstappen, from a personality standpoint, maybe. He's a champion in our heart, but right now, not having a Max Verstappen-like run in that number 13, but you never know. You never know.
Like if you compare it to Max Verstappen's performance this past weekend in Australia, it's
that is true.
He's doing a lot better than Max, so yeah.
And Matt Kuntz right now going up against Brandon Waldrop in the Butt Kicker Bracket Challenge. Waldrop was not racing tonight, so it's going to be an automatic advance for the driver number 13. Kuntz, so I know that'll make the Garveys happy with that tonight. So appreciate y'all tuning in. And while we're watching some of these battles outside of the chase, we appreciate everyone who's tuning in right now. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell icon for notifications so you know every time we go live. Appreciate every single subscriber. It doesn't cost you a thing, just helps our channel grow a little bit as we watch Aaron Smith get a little bit loose off that corner. Right now, watching a couple of other battles. But yeah, appreciate you. Let us know who you're rooting for in the chat tonight. We got a trivia question coming y'all's way in just a little bit to see how much you're paying attention earlier Back up front, it's still Scotty Sobczak in the lead, but there's an interesting battle going on right now between Evan Pienta, who just got his way by Dustin Scruggs for the 8th position.
Scruggs
Single
let him
file
go.
for the most part, yeah. Scruggs, good solid move. That's one of the things that, as we watch a really interesting battle right behind these guys that's kind of picking up steam a little bit. We mentioned it. You got to know when to let drivers go and let them burn their stuff up and hold on to your own tires. And we're seeing Scruggs maybe kind of put that plan into action tonight, Chris.
Yeah, he is. And I think that right now at this point in the run, we're starting to see maybe some drivers slip back a little bit, and some drivers start to come forward a little bit. This is going to be the part of the run where I want to pay really, really close attention to, what drivers seem to have the long run pace and which ones maybe burn their right fronts up a little bit too much. I think one driver we're starting to see maybe slip a little bit is that 38 of Patrick Piper. He might have pushed a little bit too hard. We saw Scott Tompkins get around him, Chris Pierce get around him. Here comes James Danforth, looking to the inside of him for the 12th position now.
And you can see James Danforth a little bit loose. And you mentioned it's a really interesting line as drivers kind of enter into one a little bit high and try to run their way down the corner off onto the backstretch. James Danforth did a really good job of it there. That number 8, that's a good-looking paint scheme. He won the Evan Pienta paint scheme design contest we ran on social media a couple of weeks ago. Patrick Piper not letting him go. Fights back off of turn number 4 there, right up to the back bumper and the tire tracks of the number 88. Patrick Piper 13th. James Danforth gains the 12th position with that pass here on lap number 51 of 200. Chris, we're almost a quarter way through the books. We started to get a lot of the green flag action here, knock on wood. And you mentioned it. We're starting to see some drivers fall. I'm keeping an eye on lap times right here. Scotty Sobczak still in the 26.4s. Justin Wilson ran a 26.3 that time along with Randy Bechdel. So I'm curious to see if these guys start gaining on Sobczak. Is this an issue as we watch Scotty Sobczak have a rear full mirror full of Justin Wilson here on lap number 52? How much of this is Scotty Sobczak saving his tires and how much of it is Justin Wilson pushing it? Chris, we've seen Scotty Sobczak used to burn his tires off a lot as we watched an attempt to pass for the lead. He's gotten a lot better at it here. I'm curious to see what version of Scotty we see tonight in that number 81. Have we seen him drive him off too early?
I don't know. It's hard to tell, like, at this point in the race, but I think that, we saw Scotty Sobczak move to the front after that last restart that we had, and, maybe Justin was saving maybe just a little bit more than Scotty was. He hasn't been able to complete the pass yet, so I don't think that Scotty was necessarily burning him up, but maybe Justin was trying to pace himself a little bit more as he looks to the inside right here of the 81.
Got an attempt for the lead here. We're going to see what line is better. We mentioned that outside line can run off those tires pretty quickly, sucking the rubber right off of them. Justin Wilson in the tire tracks, they almost run identical lines, center off the corner there. Justin Wilson trying to channel some speed off of that turn 2 exit to no avail. Look at that line change he makes in turn number 3. And it's going to make it position. That was impressive the way he ran that truck up into the top of the corner. But he's got the Lee Campbell number 14 machine. They're going to split the difference here. Campbell's in the middle, Wilson to the outside, Sobczak on the inside. That's going to prove beneficial for the driver of the number 58, Justin Wilson, the Dover winner in race number 9, gets back to the point here on lap number 56. New leader in town. Wilson to the lead, Sobczak second. Curious to see if we see Wilson walk away a little bit here with maybe a little bit better conditioned tires, but that's open the door, Chris. Randy Bechdel has come up right into that battle as Wilson and Sobczak were kind of duking it out down the backstretch. And Randy Bechdel's now right there in third position. Look at the great run that number 51 gets off of the corner. Bechdel, the winner at Iowa, had been close multiple times this season, Chris. He's looking like he is going to make a championship run based on everything we've seen this season, and that doesn't seem to have let up tonight here at Rockingham. As Bechdel, that driver out of Pennsylvania, sits number 3 in the running order right now, looking to improve it by 1 here.
You can really see right there off of turn 2, and I think turn 2 is specifically the exit of turn 2 is where you can really, really show how much better you've been saving tires than maybe somebody else. You saw how Bechdel really closed up on Sobczak right there. As Sobczak kind of tags the wall a little bit right there on entry to turn 1 right there. Looks like Scotty does a better job of getting a run down the hill that time, and he's going to sort of maintain that gap. But, yeah, Scotty Sobczak's not too far off. He's not too far off the pace. Maybe, this next run, bolt some new tires on it. Maybe back that run up just a slight bit more. And he might be in the ballpark. But, yeah, Justin Wilson and Randy Bechdel look like they got the long run pace tonight for sure.
Speaking of pace, the number 70's picking up, Chris, back in 5th position. It's a battle going on between Smith, Bradley, and Pistol. 3 cars on top of each other, exiting turn number 2 down the back straightaway. This is a dicey situation. 2 championship contenders, a non-chase driver. You got to be careful if you're these 2 guys racing incredibly hard in the first quarter of this race. Aaron Smith trying to get underneath the 50 of Jacob Bradley. Looking at lap times that time by, Bradley was just a skosh faster in that number 50 on the outside. Different lines, you can see different benefits playing out for both of these drivers right now. Really close off of turn 2. Couldn't fit a sheet of paper between those 2 cars, the 50 and the 70. The 70 of Aaron Smith and that HTP yellow Silverado. You see the advantage on entry, Chris, but the advantage goes to Bradley on the outside on exit. Looks like he might let off and let Smith have it this time by.
Yeah, and, racing here, especially on a long run like this, it can be very frustrating because you can be faster than a guy, you can save tires, a lot more than a guy, and you can find yourself just trapped underneath him, especially if you're trying to pass him to the inside as, Jacob Bradley goes way up the hill right here. Wesley Pistol's going to get by and move up into the 6th spot. That guy that's on the outside can just utilize that momentum just to keep you at bay and, keep you at his mercy. And Jacob Bradley was able to hold on to that spot for a really long time. And, that's going to come in handy, possibly at the end of this thing, if it comes down to a late race restart.
Track position matters, Chris, and I think we're getting ready to see pit stops. Evan Pienta, our first chase driver on pit road here. He's taking tires. He's exiting. We're right into that window where drivers can likely make it on 2 stops. Might be a little bit early here, but Pienta makes the gamble to short pit here on lap number 64 of 200. I thought Jacob Bradley might be getting ready to come in. He is.
He's on pit road.
All right, so the number 50 is on pit road. Going to look at several other drivers looking like they might come down. James Danforth, Sean Johnson's on pit road. Scherf's on pit road. Several cars coming off now. We're going to see who also the 91. Rye Jones is on pit road. Chris Pierce is on pit road. A lot of your chase drivers getting ready to come into pit road right now, Chris, as they make their way around the track another time. Justin Wilson still is your leader. Scotty Sobczak 2nd. Bechdel 3rd. Smith 4th. Pistol 5th. But pit stops have begun. How long can you wait to come down if you've started to see top 15 drivers come down? What's the gamble you're making by staying out here if you're a leader?
Well, just that these guys that are on fresh tires can make up a lot of ground on you because the pace is just so much quicker. Last time by, Justin Wilson ran a 26.94, and his fastest lap was about a 25 flat. So the pace has slowed down almost 2 seconds since the beginning of the race for the fastest guy that's on the track right now. So, but if I'm Justin Wilson, I'm fine. I'm totally fine because nobody up there that I'm racing with in the top 5 has made their way to pit road yet. So I feel really, really confident. I feel really, really good about my pace. I want to try to stay out as long as I can right here, and maintain this and maybe force those guys to come to pit road earlier than what they should.
Yep, you're going to try to undercut some of these drivers. And look, Evan Pienta, one of the first drivers to come down, Chris, he was sitting 12th. He's the last driver in the chase. This is kind of a Hail Mary. We talked about these drivers 9th on back having to really make some big moves tonight. That's a gamble. I'm curious to see. We'll keep an eye on it to see if it plays out here as the race progresses through this particular pit cycle. Again, drivers right now coming to get their Sunoco race fuel from Hank Thomas Performance in this first set of pit stops. And I know they're going to be happy to get those tires too, Chris. You're going to see Evan Pienta's lap times increase dramatically in terms of speed here. And he's going to look like Superman on these tires. And if we get halfway through a tire run, how dangerous does it get when you got drivers out there on really old tires and then drivers who are on these fresh Goodyear rubbers?
It can get very dangerous, but the positive is that there are multiple lanes here. This is not a single groove track. we've seen drivers on the yellow line and all the way up next to the wall as well. So that is a positive. We're going to put the previous lap times up here on the board just to show all the viewers at home sort of the lap times that people are running right now. And you see Patrick Piper all the way back there in 21st, ran a 25.6, second and a half faster than the current leader of the race, Justin Wilson, who arguably has the fastest long run speed here tonight. So that just shows you the closing rate and the closing speed that these drivers have once they get some fresh tires, some fresh Goodyear Eagles put on, or Goodyear Wranglers, I should say, put on these trucks.
Goodyear Eagles, Goodyear Wranglers. It's fresh rubber either way, and drivers are going to be wanting that fresh rubber here on lap number 71. Your top 6 cars or trucks have not pitted yet. That's tailed up by Scott Tompkins in the number 25. Johnny Rapp, Chris, is... Actually, I take that back. Johnny Rapp also, he pit earlier, but he hasn't pit on this green flag cycle. Josh Ward also might be in that group. I'm trying to figure out. I know Ward had come in for pit repair, so I think my numbers are a little bit misleading. I think Ward hasn't pit either.
Yeah, and those guys, I don't think they have taken tires. I know Johnny Rapp has not taken tires. I don't think that Josh Ward has either. I could be wrong about that. It's hard to tell with the damage that he was getting repaired on pit road, but yeah, he is currently, they can go a little bit longer if they want to on fuel. I don't know if they'll want to, though, just because of the penalty on tires.
Just to tell you how tight these trucks are probably getting, Chris, I just saw the 58 of Justin Wilson nip the wall a little bit in turns 1 and 2. So he is definitely starting to feel the pressure of that tire wear. Your leader came into this race 5th in the championship standings in the chase, Justin Wilson. We got to be getting close to a pit stop here on lap number 73. How long do they continue to let this go on? How much time are they willing to give up here as we approach the halfway point of this race? Wilson first, Scotty Sobczak second, Randy Bechdel third.
On pit road.
Tompkins on pit road in the 25.
Yeah, he was our 6th place runner. So we're inching closer and closer to that top 5 coming to pit road. So if I'm Justin Wilson, I still feel good about staying out. Stay out as long as I can.
Yeah, and just looking at lap times, you mentioned top 5 still have not come in, and you kind of know who you're racing at this point, right? Justin Wilson knows he's racing those top 4, top 5 cars. We're just waiting. He's waiting on those. Now, at this point, it becomes a game of cat and mouse to figure out who's going to be the first one to make that move, because as soon as one of those top 5, I would imagine, makes that move, whether it's Pistol, Smith, Bechdel, or Sobczak, everyone else is probably coming within a lap of that, because you can't let your competitors get too much of an advantage
Randy
here.
Bechdel, our 3rd place runner. Randy Bechdel on pit road.
3rd place runner is going to be the first one to come in. I'm curious to see how long it takes. So we watch DeChedre and the 00 come in. Here comes Justin Wilson. Scotty Sobczak coming with him right behind Sean Johnson. Your first 2 are now down pit road along with Randy Bechdel, Chris. This is going to be critical. Every single second matters. Getting down to speed, getting into your pit cycle or your pit stall, and getting off of pit road. You got to be as fast as possible, Chris, especially as close as we've seen these leaders tonight, with just car lengths separating them. Every single second, every single inch is going to matter. It looks like, Justin Wilson a little bit slid into his pit. A little bit. I saw him have to back up, Chris. That is going to cost him potentially. I'm curious to see how that affects the race off of pit road for Justin Wilson. Are we going to see Scotty Sobczak gain an advantage? We are. Sobczak beats Justin Wilson off pit road by about a car length, and we mentioned it. You have to be flawless. You saw it in the opening trailer for the chase, Chris. 5 flawless races. There's the first mistake of the night from Justin Wilson. Scotty Sobczak close enough to take an advantage of it off of pit road, and that's going to put Scotty Sobczak likely in position to inherit the lead when everything cycles back around.
I think it's actually going to cycle to Randy Bechdel. Coming to pit road a lap earlier than these guys has put him ahead of both Sobczak and Wilson. And Sobczak and Bechdel had very comparable times to each other on pit road. Wilson about 1 second slower on pit road, and that's all it takes, just 1 second. The difference we see on track between Bechdel and Sobczak and Wilson is just that 1 lap. That 1 lap at speed on fresher tires has put Randy Bechdel with some track position now, and Randy had some good pace, some good long run pace there, so maybe he just felt like he needed a little bit of help to try to get around those guys And maybe he feels like he can maintain this now if we go green for a while.
Hey, Chris, there are actually a couple people who are probably mad at us for mentioning that it would cycle back to those guys, because we got some guys who were in fourth and fifth and sixth who were the first ones to come down pit road. Ryan Jones, Jacob Bradley, Evan Pienta, they are the ones who took the gamble. We mentioned you could try to short pit and gain an instant advantage over your competitors. Jones, Bradley, and Pienta did so, and right now they've reaped the benefits of that. But the downside is you got to pay the piper at some point. I'm not talking about Patrick Piper. You're going to have to use those tires up early. You're going to pay the price later on in the run, because those drivers that just pit are going to be on about 20-lap fresher tires. So the final 20 laps of this run, you're going to be slower than those guys, and you're going to give up whatever time you might have gained. If kind of everything goes according to what we expect, at least, right? Things can always happen. Things change, but right now, Jones, Bradley, and Pienta running ahead of our early leaders on tire strategy, but there's going to come a time where that might change here shortly.
Yeah, and, as we got, looks like Dustin Scruggs coming to pit road this time. Dustin Scruggs actually just came to pit road 28 laps ago, so a little bit of a strange strategy for him. Johnny Rapp, meanwhile, while all this is going on, I was questioning whether or not Johnny would, go longer, or if he would decide to come to pit road with those guys, because he might have viewed the tire penalty as being too much. But he's decided he's going to try to run this thing out, I think. He's currently on lap 62 of this stint for himself. Chase Berry looks like Chase is about on the same lap strategy as Johnny Rapp as well. He has been passed by Rye Jones. Rye Jones is now actually getting around Johnny Rapp, and he's going to inherit the race lead here.
Absolutely. Rye Jones, one of those cars that came early on pit road, took fresh tires, making the pass on Johnny Rapp, who's just limping it around right now on 63-lap old tires. Chase Berry doing the same right behind him. Jacob Bradley trying to clear these cars right now. He's got to get by the number 46 and 52. Is he going to try to split the middle here? Coming out of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Dicey situation if you're these fast cars on fresh tires trying to get by everyone else. Bradley's going to choose the high line around both of those cars. He gets his way into second position. Evan Pienta is going to be the next truck behind those old tired trucks with old rubber trying to get by into the third position. And right now, if you're just joining us, waiting for this pit cycle to kind of cycle through, a couple of drivers staying out on old tires. We've got a couple of drivers who came in real early for fresh tires, a couple of drivers who came in about 10 laps or so. Varying pit strategy, Chris. This is going to be really interesting. And right now, we've seen this have a long green flag look to it, knock on wood. We've seen it have a long green flag run for the past 67 laps or so. Does that dictate your strategy moving forward? I know we've seen folks like Johnny Rapp just trying to hang on to tires. We saw that gamble pay off for drivers like Justin Wilson at Dover, hanging on to a set of tires late in the race. Are you thinking about that if you're a driver out there tonight, or are you kind of judging this to be a green flag race?
I'm definitely judging it to be a green flag race. And if I do that, I think that it's probably going to work out to where if you do have that late caution, you're going to have that set of tires left in the pits. With the tires that the laps that we've run here, everybody held on to them in those early, for the most part. All of our leaders held on to them in those early stages of the race when we had a couple of cautions early on. So, I think that I feel very, very comfortable with where I'm at as Chase Berry hits the pit lane right here. He's going to get some fresh tires on that number 46 Toyota. I think that I feel really good if I'm Randy Bechdel, Scotty Sobczak, Justin Wilson about going as long as I can possibly go and still having a set of tires left in the pits for late in the race.
We've got some amazing strategy playing out right here. We're setting it up for an absolute epic thriller of a finish here in the final half of this race at Rockingham for the Apex Energy Truck Series. Hank Thomas Performance 200. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined in the booth. Oh, Patrick Colby, just watching him and Tony Caputo almost have contact down the front straightaway. Ellis Thomas joined in the booth by Chris Smith. We mentioned a trivia question. We always like to mix it up a little bit, add a little bit of fun to the chat if you're watching right now. Got a question for you. What two major motion pictures or movies were filmed at Rockingham? What 2 major motion picture movies were filmed at Rockingham Speedway? Let us know what you think the answer to that question is, or at least give us one of them in the chat right now. We'll give you the answer here in just a little bit. Think about it. Use that brain. Let us know. If you haven't hit the subscribe and like button, do that as well. Give us some thumbs up if you like the racing that you're seeing right now, liking how this chase is playing out. Right now, Rye Jones is your leader on lap 92 of 200. Jacob Bradley second, Bechdel third, Pienta fourth, Scotty Sobczak is fifth. We got a little battle going on right now, Chris. Justin Wilson and Scotty Sobczak. I'm seeing the number 58 close up a little bit on the number 81. Certainly hasn't let him get out of his tire tracks yet. This is a battle we're going to be keeping an eye on. I think Justin Wilson definitely views Sobczak as one of his competitors in this number 81, and he hasn't let him get away just quite yet. Looking at lap times last time by, Sobczak was a little bit faster, but they're running near identical lap times. They're about less than 1/10 of each other.
Yeah, they're running really, really close lap times right now. And on the last run, we saw once Justin Wilson got to about the 40 lap mark of his run, we saw him get around Scotty Sobczak. So we'll see if Scotty learned something on that run that maybe he can apply this time right here. Maybe he can just save a little bit more, as, man, that lap truck created a little bit of a problem right there. Scotty Sobczak had to shallow his entry up just a little bit right there, as Justin Wilson's going to get right on the rear tailgate. He's actually going to look to the outside of him right here going into turn 1.
Justin Wilson to the outside, Sobczak on the inside as they come off of turn 2. Justin Wilson looks to make the move. He's got to get up to Evan Pienta, who's fourth right now. I imagine Pienta's feeling the effects of those tires wearing off just a little bit. Wilson tries to split the middle. Scherf and Pienta sandwich. Wilson's in the middle. He clears both of the number 4 and the 55, sails it off down into turn 1 and the outside. Pienta's also going to go underneath Scherf. Now it's Scotty Sobczak's turn to move into the 3rd position, actually the 6th position behind Pienta. All working their way by the number 4 truck. That's a good-looking paint scheme. I like that red and black, by the way. I know we've got Kathy Scherf watching Matt in the chat right now. Hope Kathy's doing well. That's a good-looking paint scheme. What do you think of the yellow numbers, Chris? Are you a fan of the yellow numbers on kind of a black and red car? You wouldn't think it would work just on the surface, but I feel like it looks good.
Yeah, you're also asking a guy, like it's a little bit Hendrick-esque, isn't it? Yellow numbers on a car.
Yeah.
You're asking a guy who's kind of anti-Hendrick, but it looks good. It looks good on this truck for sure. I just can't ever let that get out of my mind. Yellow 24 on the side of a car. That's what I think of first thing when I see that.
Not a big old Jeff Gordon fan, huh?
I was a NASCAR kid of the 90s. I was a big Mark Martin fan, so as you can imagine, very anti-Jeff Gordon during that time.
Those were the good old days, they say right now. Rye Jones having some good old days. He's running first, Randy Bechdel second, Bradley third. Looking through the field, Chris, lots of battles going on. They're not all for position, but Evan Pienta has his hands full with Sean Johnson in the number 32 right now. This is going on back around. Evan Pienta's running 6th, Johnson 16th. We're starting to see fast cars go a lap down here, Chris. And this is going to create interesting racing as drivers try to position themselves to be the first car a lap down in case we do get that caution that they're hoping for, so they can be the lucky dog and get back on the lead lap. Right now, Rye Jones is lapped all the way through the 14th position.
Yeah,
First car not on the lead or on the lead lap is 13th.
Yeah, and we're starting to see also, you saw the speed right there that some of those guys around Evan Pienta had. We also have some guys who are a lap down who just have fresher tires than guys who are currently on the lead lap. For whatever reason, different pit strategy, stayed out longer on that previous run. And they're, coming up through these guys who are battling for position, and it's making their life a little bit difficult. And it's nothing necessarily that they're doing wrong. They're in their own race to, battle for their own positions. It's just, as a lead lap guy, sometimes that can be a little bit frustrating because we got a battle going on for the 7th spot. I think that Scott Tompkins just got around Chris Pierce to move up into the 7th spot. So Tompkins in the 25 looks like he's got some long run pace tonight in that Chevrolet.
One of the interesting things that happened there, I think Chris Pearson, the 65, heard footsteps from the 25 at Tompkins coming and just kind of got a little bit too high in the corner and got in the wall and raised that right front up against the wall. I don't think there's any damage necessarily that's going to inflict any harm on the 65, but hey, Scott's had his hands full tonight earlier in the race, so I can sympathize with Chris Pierce just wanting to get out of the way there right now. Tompkins up to 7th position, recovering from some early race troubles, working his way around the lap car of Matt Scherf. Chris, I think Don Hilbrun's is coming for you. She's a Jeff Gordon fan, and you were critical of Jeff, so don't be alienating Don in the chat.
I respect Jeff, but I'm just salty. It's just a salty race fan, but I respect his ability. Yeah, I mean, like you talked about Chris Pierce just a second ago. If I'm Chris Pierce and I see that 25 truck coming up behind me, I'm probably going to get out of the way too because he's run into a few people tonight. I'm just kidding. I'm messing around, Scott. I'm giving you a hard time. But Scott's definitely got some. He's got some pretty good long run speed tonight. We'll see if he can close in. I think he is closing in on that 55 truck in front of him. He has some fresher tires than Evan. Evan Pienta has about 12 lap older tires than Scott Tompkins. So Tompkins looking to move up into the top 6 here.
That 55 is starting to feel the tire wear, Chris, as we watch Matt Kuntz in the wall on the backstretch. Tompkins narrowly avoids catastrophe on lap 105. Caution is out.
Man.
Oh, Chris, we're going to have to go on board that 25 because my goodness, we're going to have to get that man a change of pants or something. Wow.
Yeah,
that was intense. Matt Kuntz off the wall on the backstretch on lap 106, almost collects Shawnee Rapp, and that was a wreck about a straightaway in the making.
Look how close this was for Scott Tompkins. Oh my gosh, that was so close. Man, what a great job. Good patience right there from Tompkins to not panic there, not do too much. We'll actually look at the rear bumper of Matt Kuntz so you can just see how close Scott Tompkins gets as he comes by. Kuntz tags the wall right there, gets a little bit loose. Oh, and you see just how close he came.
That was incredible. I'm sure it was not as incredible in the 25. I think probably a little bit of needs a breather there. But Scott Tompkins somehow survives that lap 107 crash. Chris, we're going to see pit stops right now. Live pit stops underway. Rye Jones bringing much of the field with him all the way through Scotty Sobczak. Evan Pienta coming in as well. Tompkins, Pierce, the entire crew. Aaron Smith stays out.
Yeah, this is going to split the field. This is going to, some people who are a lap down are obviously going to stay out to get the wave around, but looks like almost everybody who is on the lead lap is gonna pit here.
And we're going to be interested to see. Justin Wilson overshot his pit stall last time. We're going to see what happens here with Scotty Sobczak, Rye Jones, Randy Bechdel, where they come out on pit road. Track position is everything here. Just 93 laps remaining. Over halfway, Rye Jones is going to beat Randy Bechdel off pit road by a nose, and then it's going to be Jacob Bradley, Justin Wilson, and Scotty Sobczak. So the running order is going to remain unchanged, but it was close there. I know these drivers are going to be happy to get fresh Goodyear rubber on underneath those trucks, Chris. Lap number 108 of 200. We're going to reset the field for you here when we get back, but right now we got to pay some bills. We're going to take a small pause to hear from our partners over at Butt Kicker. We'll talk more about that Butt Kicker Bracket Challenge here shortly. We'll be back on the other end of the break.
Haptics is everything from the rumble in your game controller to the vibration from your text notification. Essentially, it's a sense of touch mediated by technology. In our increasingly digital world, there's a divide between the technology we use and how we're used to interacting with the world. Haptics bridges this divide by introducing feedback through your sense of touch. This allows your brain to connect with what it's seeing on a screen or in a game. Butt Kicker is a pioneer in haptic technology. For over 20 years, Butt Kicker hardware has helped cinemas, musicians, and gamers immerse themselves in their medium and drastically increase their experiences. Not only does it increase immersion, but for things like sim racing, it can actually help you drive better by introducing real-time, accurate feedback. To learn more about Butt Kicker haptics, head over to thebuttkicker.com.
Back live from Rockingham Speedway, I'm Ellis Thomas, joined in the booth by Chris Smith. Things are heating up and the strategies have intensified. Several drivers coming down to get fresh Goodyear tires here after a lap 106 incident with Matt Kuntz and several other cars. Aaron Smith made an interesting call, Chris. He stayed out, trapping several cars a lap down. Had he pit, they would have been able to stay out and get their lap back. But Aaron Smith makes the call, 31 lap old tires, hoping probably that he is going to get a caution here in the next 15 to 20 laps. Who knows? Based on the way we've seen things going, it's hard to tell. We've seen short runs, we've seen long runs. This race has had everything so far, including pit strategy. Aaron Smith's going to be the control car on the restart, just about half a lap away as the cars wrap their way through turn number 3. Pace car getting ready to pull off, Chris. 90 laps left in this race number 1 of the chase for the championship. Smith going to be the control car in that bright yellow number 70 truck. Pace car pulls away. It's on Smith now to bring him to the green. He hits that throttle, gets a good start. Randy Bechdel really loose. Wilson has to make evasive action to the inside. He forces his teammate Bechdel 3 wide. Scotty Sobczak up top. Wilson wisely lifts out of the throttle. Chris, these cars are really loose right now on the start of this 4th stint of the race. Smith down there on the bottom, you can see really loose. Rye Jones is marked as your leader. Wow. Rye Jones after starting. Close contact, Randy Bechdel. Wow, so many things, Chris, going on here. Randy Bechdel and Aaron Smith almost got into each other. Is that Paul Thomas on the end of pit road? Not sure what happened there. He's going to tow it. We're going to revisit the scene of that crime to figure out what happened to the number 42. It looks like, Chris, he might have just lost it, gotten loose off this corner.
Yeah, that's what we saw.
Exactly what happened.
We saw it at the top of the screen. He got loose there coming off turn 4, and luckily he didn't bounce back on the racetrack and cause another caution. But right now we got a battle between some payday teammates right here. Rye Jones under some pressure from Jacob Bradley as Aaron Smith. I think that Aaron Smith's strategy is very interesting. You know, we talked a little bit about it before. I think Aaron might recognize he's got to do something different tonight because I don't think he has the race-winning speed that we're used to seeing out of him.
He does not, and that's pretty clear at this point, even doing his best to save tires. We just didn't see the speed that we're used to seeing from the 70 in practice. Right now, though, we've seen a lot of speed from the 91
contact between the 81 and the 58. Sobczak and Wilson
These cars have been going at it for a couple of laps. Chris, this is some hard-nosed racing right now. Lap 114 of 200. Drivers going for every position, every inch on the track they can get. The 81 and the 58 have been racing each other all night long. Maybe a little bit of frustration as Randy Bechdel gets loose off the corner right behind them in 6th position. Scotty Tompkins not too far behind him. Meanwhile, the battle settles out for the lead. Jacob Bradley and Evan Pienta now are scrapping for 2nd place, getting ready to cross the start-finish line. Pienta, that black and blue, 55, right now gives up the position to Jacob Bradley, but you can see how much ground he picks up on the inside. Almost get Bradley. That was really close to the number of the 55. And I don't think Jacob Bradley is happy. I'm seeing an exchange on the radio comms between these two guys right now, Chris. Jacob was on the outside. Evan tried to make it stick on the inside and almost did, but he got really loose on exit and almost collected the 3rd place point contender in the chase right now, Chris. So that was almost a big moment for a couple of chase drivers. And again, chase drivers are noted in yellow on the ticker to the left of your screen. If you see a driver noted in yellow, they are chase contenders locked into the final 5 races, having an opportunity to win the championship. Battle right now between Evan Pienta and Scott Tompkins. We see Tompkins narrowly avoid that lap 105 incident, Chris. This is some close racing. Less than a car length separate the top 8 positions on track right now. Top 7, I should say, as we watch Randy Bechdel make a move to the inside in turn 3. He's going to try to get the flip on Tompkins here.
Yeah, we will
Tompkins
make it
on the outside. Go ahead.
We will make a note, Scott Tompkins is a chase driver, even though he is currently not highlighted in yellow on the ticker. We'll try to get that fixed for next week. But, yeah, these drivers are all on top of each other. Throw a blanket over this top 7 here.
This is intense racing. This is as intense as you're going to get. We often talk about long green flag runs at Rockingham, and cars get a little stretched out. We are not seeing that in the top 10 right now. Chris, this battle, it continues not only for the third position between Justin Wilson and Scotty Sobczak, but Evan Pienta continues to work on Scott Tompkins for the fifth position. Looks like he might try to go for the fourth position right now on Scotty Sobczak. That 55's found something, Chris, on the outside after near catastrophe on the inside. He's got that outside line rolling at the moment.
Yeah, the only problem is that, you know, by rolling up there on the top like that, if this thing goes green to the end, are you doing some damage to your tires right now? It might be at the point. Oh, as Justin Wilson is sideways.
Oh my gosh, he's in the wall, Chris. The number 58 doesn't keep it out of the wall. Green flag is still out. Caution. He stops on the track. That number 58 took a spin down the back straightaway, hangs onto it, comes back up on the track. I bet you're going to say he got into a tank slapper, right?
Got into a tank slapper. That's what a tank slapper looks like right there. Fuel is sloshing back and forth in that tank right there. That was
Justin Wilson somehow saves it. We'll go back and watch the replay here. My goodness, this is going to be the save of the race. He just grazed that wall, similar to what happened to Matt Kuntz to bring out our last caution.
Yeah, he's just fighting, trying to stay ahead of the truck, and he just gets a little bit behind on the steering at one point, and you know, it just comes around on him. But he fought it for a long time, and he did a nice job of, you know, not making a situation worse than what it wound up being. What we're going to do is we're actually going to go backwards here, and we're going to ride on board from the moment of contact.
And meanwhile, while you're doing this is going to bring Aaron Smith and Josh Ward and a handful of other trucks down pit road. This is the caution that Aaron Smith probably wanted.
And you see right there, he tagged the wall. Look at the hands back and forth. You can hear him working the throttle as well. Eventually, he released the brake right there and hit the throttle to try to spin it back around to keep the truck from hitting that inside wall. And, man, just did a masterful job of not panicking, not overcorrecting, and, you know, not getting too behind on that steering, and did a very nice job.
Don Hilbrun's in the chat right now saying chasers are having some issues tonight. Absolutely. We have seen a handful of chasers have incidents throughout this race. So again, they are not immune to problems. Paul Thomas in the chat says, I hate cold tires. I agree. Are you okay after that incident, Dad? We saw you take a hard hit, similar to the one we saw at the Brickyard a couple of weeks ago. Glad you walked away from that virtual incident. It happened all night long in the beginning of these runs. So if you're in the chat right now, let us know. Who do you think has the upper hand in this battle right now? Who looking at the top 10? Justin Wilson, Chris, I believe Justin Wilson is going to be given the EOL for that caution. He'll be forced to the end of the line. And right now, there are 17 cars on the lead lap. That's going to put Justin Wilson back in the 17th, I believe 18th position, because Nick DeCesare, I believe, is going to be the lucky dog on this lap and get his lap back. So all the way back to 18th for Justin Wilson.
And not only that, but he's at the end of the line, so he's back behind all the trucks who are a lap down as well. And that's also a big penalty. Not only going to, you know, he'd already lost a lot of track position with the spin itself, but, you know, going back behind all these other trucks. Now he's got to pass all the trucks who are a lap down as well in this next restart. So that's a pretty big penalty in and of itself.
It is going to be difficult going for Justin Wilson. Sitting fifth in the chase coming into tonight. You can see all the chase drivers highlighted in yellow. Final 5 races of the season. We reset the top 12 tonight. You can see where they're running. Chris, Patrick Colby really struggling to come back from that early race incident that did not bring out a caution, sitting in 22nd. I think he's going to be one of the biggest losers tonight in terms of where chase drivers shake out. Entered in 10th. It's going to be difficult to claw your way back in 4 races from something like that. So right now, drivers looking to claw their way to the finish here. Just about 75 laps remaining in the Hank Thomas Performance 200 for the Apex Energy Truck Series. Jacob Bradley is going to be your leader. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we want to keep a really close eye on this restart on Rye Jones, who did come to pit road along with, like you mentioned, Aaron Smith, Josh Ward, Dustin Scruggs. Rye Jones is on his final set of tires here, so we'll see how all this shakes out. Aaron Smith does have a set left, but we're going to be watching these guys come through the field right here. These guys are hoping it goes green to the end.
This is going to be an interesting run. Two different tire strategies playing out. Some drivers are on their last set. Some drivers have one more. Jacob Bradley's on one of those drivers who's got one more set left. He goes to the lead. Rye Jones back in ninth position. Evan Pienta second. Scotty Sobczak third. Jacob Bradley off to the races. Great restart for the driver, the number 50. Evan Pienta second, Scotty Sobczak third, Scott Tompkins into fourth position. Making it work tonight on the outside, Randy Bechdel sixth, Wesley Pistol doing battle with him on the outside. I see James Danforth, a car 3 wide underneath Rye Jones. One of the cars you mentioned earlier, Chris, Aaron Smith, your points leader, is in the middle of all that, back there in the 10th, 12th, 11th position. Crazy restarts we've seen tonight, Chris, especially as some cars are spinning their tires. It is getting intense watching several drivers do their best to work their way back up through the field. Randy Bechdel sitting fifth. He's working on Wesley Pistol right now. Scott Tompkins right in front of him. That number 94 is not letting Randy Bechdel get too far away. He's not letting him get away at all as he looks to make the move to the inside. That's Wesley Pistol in that Tennessee Volunteers number 94. He's going to finally relinquish the spot. Chris, I'm keeping an eye on the number 90 or the number 70 of Aaron Smith sitting in ninth, slowly working his way through. You mentioned he's got one more set of tires left. He's rolling through this field right now. He's picked up at least 3 or 4 positions. He's got Josh Ward and Patrick Piper in 8th and 9th in front of him. How patient are you if you're the number 70 here in the closing 80 laps of this race? The closing 70 lap, I should say.
I think that, if you're Aaron Smith, I think there's a couple of things that could happen for you. Number one, this thing could go green to the end, and if it does, you're sitting in really good shape because you got a lot fresher tires than these guys to the end. You could get a caution, closer to the end of this thing, and if it does, then you're kind of on equal playing field with these guys who are in front of you. So Aaron, I think, is sitting in a really good spot right now. I think that caution happened just as he needed it to. I want to trace back just a little bit to Rye Jones. I brought him up before on that last restart.
Interesting battle going on back here for 14th right now.
Yeah, Rye Jones is not on 4 fresh tires. I guess I made an assumption right there that I shouldn't have made. He actually, it looks like he was on pit road for about 6.5 seconds there, so not sure if he took 2 tires or if he just did fuel only. I'm sure he just did fuel only, but he has slid back a little bit because he was in the midst of a lot of guys who did take 4 tires, so a little bit of an interesting call right here from Rye Jones to put himself back here in this position.
Chris, if you're looking at drivers racing at a 1 through 10 energy level right now, I'm watching that number 9 of Patrick Colby not too far behind Rye Jones. He is racing at an 11. He's that second car a lap down, doing anything he can to try to get back up to the back bumper of Johnny Rapp in the 52, who is positioned as the lucky dog if a caution were to come out right now. That number 9 truck in that Alabama Crimson Tide colors, he is racing hard. This is not a battle for position with James Danforth in that number 88, just trying to get by and catch back up. This driver out of New Hampshire, originally by the way of Alabama, racing as hard as it gets. We mentioned him struggling early on in the race with an early race spin, doing whatever he can to claw his way back in. And Chris, let's talk about drivers who have clawed their way back in. Josh Ward, sitting in 6th position right now in that number 92 truck. We saw him take a header into the wall on lap 10 or so, and somehow he has got that thing rolling into now the 5th position. He's got 11-lap-old tires. I think, is he on his last set?
That I'm not sure of. It's hard to tell with as much damage as he had to get fixed, but he did take 4 tires. He's on the Aaron Smith strategy as far as, they're on the same amount of tires. That's the only question. Does he have any tires left in the pits? If he doesn't, Josh is going to be in trouble, I think, at the end of this thing if we get a caution between now and the final closing stages of this race. He's hoping it goes green to the end, that's for sure.
Speaking of yellow, there's the number 70 yellow machine going to the lead. You mentioned the Aaron Smith strategy. Right now, that strategy is to pass Jacob Bradley down into turn number 1. Turn number 4. We've got to pass for the lead. We've got a new leader, Aaron Smith, to the point in that number 70. Chris, I don't think it could have gone better for Aaron Smith right now, the way that caution fell. That driver out of South Carolina, former Slingshot Racing League champion, looking to pick up another here at the beginning of the chase. He's pulling away. We mentioned the fresh tires. He's got about 15 lap fresher tires than Jacob Bradley. But Josh Ward, Chris, he's not going away. You mentioned the tire situation. We're kind of questioning for Josh Ward. Working right now under Evan Pienta. He's just doing what he can to get every single position in the closing stages of this race. What a thing of beauty. All these different lines I'm seeing drivers run, and they're able to make passes anywhere on the track right now.
Yeah, it's a great racetrack. Puts on a great show. This is always a fan favorite. It's a shame they could never sell this. They couldn't sell this track. Oh, it's Scott Tompkins
into the wall.
Sobczak as
Scotty
well.
Sobczak also got into the wall there. Two chase contenders into the wall here on lap number 138. The intensity is picking up. You mentioned Sobczak in 9th, Chris. A little bit further back than we've seen him running. That tire strategy has thrown things a little bit asunder here, taking the guys who are running the top 5 early and throwing them back into 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th position. We'll see how the race shakes out, but the intensity is continuing to amp up here on lap number 140. Looking for my other couple of close battles. Jay Haishman right now, Chris, he's got a good run going as he works his way by Scotty Sobczak. Haishman, one of our butt kicker bracket challenge drivers, going up against, so I'm just trying to find it here. I thought I had it highlighted. Patrick Piper. And right now, Haishman is 10th and Patrick Piper is 12th. That's a good little battle going. One of those drivers is going to advance on to the next round next week. One of these drivers will be eliminated. They're fighting for a butt kicker gamer plus package. So crazy racing going on right now. And again, every position matters, whether you're in the butt kicker bracket challenge, whether you're a chase driver. So we watched Scott Tompkins try to work his way by Jacob Bradley here for the 4th position. This is some of the best racing I think we've seen all season, Chris. We've had a limited number of cautions. We've seen drivers beating and banging and racing the wall, racing themselves all night long. But a lot of respect being shown out there for the moment, right? With 58 laps to go, things could change in the final quarter of the race. But let us know if you're in the chat right now. What have you thought of the race tonight? What struck you? What has surprised you? What are you not surprised by? Let us know. Simply say hi in the chat. Brendan Garvey, appreciate you shouting out. There's a dispute between the Garvey. I don't know if y'all are siblings or what. Owen says he's the golden child, just like Coots is the golden driver. So a little bit of sibling rivalry may be going on here. Chris, you have a brother. Who's the golden child? Who's the favorite brother in your family?
I'm not going to answer that one. I'm not going to get in trouble. I get myself in trouble real quick.
Hey, man,
I would say that we are loved equally.
Wow, very political answer. Cindy Smith is watching. Yep. She would probably agree. Dustin Scruggs, though, Chris, he has moved up into the 3rd position. Yep. I think we're seeing this driver, he's got to be on his final set of tires, right?
I would say so. Yeah, by the looks of things, all I can see is the amount of times that they have pit, so it's hard to tell, like how many times they have, come to pit road 4 tires. But if I were a bet man, I would say that he's probably on his final set, along with Josh Ward.
Yeah, Dustin Scruggs going up against Chris Blassie in the butt kicker bracket challenge. Chris not having a good night tonight, sitting back there in 26th position. Dustin having a much better evening, rolling in 3rd position right now in that McConey setup shop number 11 truck. Good. We've seen some speed out of Dustin. We haven't seen him race every single race with us this season, but when he's been here, he's been fast, and we saw him have speed in practice. So I'm not really surprised to see, Chris, that number 11 of Dustin Scruggs running where he is right now in the race. Interesting line variation. So I'm seeing Dustin run on the inside. I'm seeing Bradley and Tompkins run on the outside. Do you think that has anything to do with tire wear as we watch Tompkins duck down to the inside there? Maybe Scruggs knows he's got to hold on to that set of tires for the remainder of the race, whereas Bradley's got one to use.
Well, I think that you also have to keep in mind we're pretty deep into the race right here. So, have drivers, has one of the lanes been used up as far as is there a lot of rubber buildup on one of them that is causing maybe these trucks to slow down a little bit in one of those lanes? Bradley, Tompkins, and Bechdel were all running pretty high earlier, whereas Scruggs was running low.
He had to end the wall right behind them. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good, and I think that maybe those guys see those front guys trying to get away, and maybe that top is just a way to try to maintain or try to, make as good a time as they can possibly make this deep into, tire life cycle.
And they are deep into this tire life cycle. Drivers like Bradley, 40 laps in, and what we saw in the very first stint, which was our first clear indication of what kind of a green flag run would look like, somewhere around 65 laps seemed to be where these drivers are comfortable. Some went as far as 70 laps, so we'll see how that kind of develops over the final 50 laps or so of this race. We've officially entered in to the final quarter of the Hank Thomas Performance 200 here at Rockingham. And Chris, we mentioned Evan Pienta got into the wall. One of the things we tried to do this season is we watch him battle side by side. He's into the wall again. Patrick Piper has to take evasive action to miss the number 55 of Evan Pienta. I'm afraid to put the commentator's curse on the 55 here, but we're going to have to in just a moment once he gets clear a little bit of this traffic as we watch him do battle with Johnny Rapp as well as Rye Jones, his teammate. We've been trying to feature drivers so our fans can learn a little bit about the virtual cars and trucks that we see out on track as we watch this battle for the 12th position or the 13th position between Pienta and Jones. Let's go ahead and hear from Evan Pienta, learn a little bit about Evan Pienta as the spotlight driver of the race tonight.
I'm a full-time student studying motorsports engineering at IUPUI in Indianapolis, and I also do the graphic design stuff for SRL and some breweries around my local hometown. Peanut butter jelly for sure. I do not like cheese. Gotta be Tony Stewart for sure, the GOAT. Relish, I'd say relish, ketchup, and onion. Bristol, for sure. High banks, really tight racing. Got to be focused. Hand on the wheel, up on the wheel. For sure.
All right, back here, you learned a little bit about Evan Pienta, who we see on screen, that number 55 right now. Does a lot of the logos that we see for races each week and has designed several of the paint schemes, including the one he's driving right now. Appreciate all the hard work for Evan. He also did those banners that we've got on the chase trucks over the final 5 races, that Apex Energy white and blue. Appreciate him helping us out with that as well. Good run right now going for Evan Pienta, sitting in the 15th position. We've seen some tire strategy kind of shake out. Maybe not the way Evan would like it to have shaked out, but we saw him running up top 3 earlier in this race. So good run for Pienta. Aaron Smith continues to have a good run in the first position, where most drivers would like to be right now. However, Chris, Josh Ward has assumed second, and he's running lap times right now that are comparable with the leader of Aaron Smith. And Aaron Smith right now clearing the lap car of Chris Blassie, headed down the front straightaway. We've got about 45 laps to go. And just to set this up, you're looking at the battle forecast right now. They're running a similar pace. So we can't say that Josh Ward's necessarily going to catch Aaron Smith, but that time by, he lost a little bit of time. Chris Blassie, sorry, watching him cruise up the track a little bit. Aaron Smith's on 33-lap old tires. Josh Ward's on 33-lap old tires. Dustin Scruggs is on 33-lap old tires. We think the difference between these guys, however, is that Aaron Smith still has a set left. If you're the driver of the number 70, you're sitting in what we call the catbird seat right now. Best seat in the house. The strategy has kind of worked out to Aaron Smith's advantage at the moment, right? Cautions could fall. That could change. But right now, Aaron Smith doing a really good job. Looking through a couple of other notes that I wanted to talk about, Chris. Matt Kuntz. Good little battle going on between the teammates here back in 21st and 20th position. Matt Kuntz, Nick DeCesare, also having a little scrum with the lap car of Ryan Hinkle behind them. I know the Garvey brothers are watching, and all the Very Racing Motorsports teammates. Who do you think's the better oval racer out of these guys, Chris? Nick DeCesare or Matt Kuntz? I'll put you on the spot.
Yeah, you are putting me on the spot.
You don't actually have to answer that.
Huh?
You don't have to answer that.
I was going to say, it's really, really hard. I mean, I guess that the nod kind of has to go to Matt right now, because he does have the oval slingshot win in the late model summer series last year. So But Nick is definitely a proficient oval racer in his own right as well, and both these guys right here are battling it out for the 20th position.
That's a good looking Sunoco paints team on that number 00, by the way.
Yeah.
It is the Sunoco Hank Thomas Performance 200 here at the Rock. St. Thomas Performance, based out of North Carolina, which is what state we're in tonight. They distribute a lot of the Sunoco race fuels to local race teams, including many that race out of Rockingham. Chris, do you know where, if you had to guess, what North Carolina track did Hank Thomas Performance get their start at? He actually bought out an inventory from a guy selling parts at this racetrack.
It's not Rockingham, is it?
It's not Rockingham. I'll give you that hint.
Okay.
It's a track that's been in the news lately with NASCAR.
I know it. This is actually going to be one of my guesses. Bowman Gray Stadium.
It is Bowman Gray Stadium. So
Yes.
Hank Thomas Performance, the Southeast local fuel distributor, got their start at Bowman Gray Stadium down in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, not too far down the road from Rockingham. Right now, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'll just reserve any type of comments about what a joke Bowman Gray Stadium is for another broadcast.
Hey, when they scan it, we're going racing there. Meanwhile, back in fourth position, Chris, this is a great battle going on between some chasers, Jacob Bradley and Scott Tompkins. Tompkins and Bradley up the track. Chase Berry trying to fight for position underneath them. Chase Berry, I believe, is on his last set of tires, sitting in the sixth position right now. Bradley and Tompkins, chase racers, they're getting close to each other, Chris. I think in the final 38 laps or so, all the gloves are coming off right now, so you watch Tompkins get really loose off that corner. How patient are you if you're a chase driver right now? Final 30 laps, are you okay with the difference between third position and sixth position in this opening round?
Yeah, I think that I wouldn't say I'm okay with it, but I think that you maybe have to, if this thing does go green at the end, you got to kind of resign yourself to the fact that that might be how it goes. A lot of these guys have really played this strategy well. You brought up Aaron Smith before. Aaron Smith needed that caution to time out exactly how it is. We see Scott Tompkins tag the wall, get a little bit loose right there. He needed it to time out how it did, and it worked out perfectly for him. Chase Berry is another driver who I think has, hit the strategy very well. We said that Chase might be on his last set. I wouldn't be so sure about that, knowing Chase. He might have another set. Oh, as Tompkins and Bradley.
Tompkins and Jacob Bradley off the corner. Bradley hardening the wall. Tompkins a little bit less so. This, Chris, looked identical to what we saw happen on lap 10 with Tompkins and Josh Ward.
Yeah, I'm not sure how. It looks like he just kind of got loose, and then he tried to get back close to Jacob Bradley. Yeah, I think it's just another situation of, I don't know if it's necessary to be running that close to other people on the outside. And I think he just misjudged it and got up into Jacob Bradley's door right there and unfortunately turned him into the inside wall.
And that was your third place runner in the chase for the championship as the points reset tonight, Chris. Jacob Bradley, a lot of damage on this lap 167 crash. 33 laps remaining here. Chris, this is going to shake things up. I think we're going to see all the cards are going to be on the table at this point. None of that's going to matter to Jacob Bradley, I'm sure. Look at that header into the wall. Tompkins pays the price, but a much lighter graze. And, Chris, that's kind of the theme. I would imagine we're going to see the EOL for the 25 at this point, which is going to put him back to the 18th position. But that's kind of been the theme tonight. We've seen Tompkins involved in multiple crashes, but he seems to have gotten away on the better end of most of those. And here we see Aaron Smith going to be coming down pit road. Josh Ward. Looks like a couple of other trucks. Randy Bechdel, Chase Berry, Jay Heishman. A lot of them coming down pit road, and I'm assuming all of them are going to have fresh tires to take Randy Bechdel as well. That's going to leave Scruggs out.
Yeah, he's out.
Scruggs going to be a sitting duck here.
We were contemplating whether or not he had tires left. I think this definitely confirms that he is all out. I'm going to give Scott Tompkins the benefit of the doubt after looking at that last replay. It looked like he just got loose and was, maybe trying to catch it and try to get back in line, get as close as he could to Jacob, and he just misjudged it. And Aaron Smith going to win the race off pit road. That does confirm that Josh Ward had a set of tires left in the pits, as he's going to come off second.
This is interesting. And on that last run, we saw the 92 have comparable speed to the 70. I am seeing Dustin Scruggs coming down pit road here. I'm not sure what he might. He's actually coming to a stop. My apologies.
Yeah, I think that Dustin didn't want to restart in front of all these guys here.
Yeah, and that's a courteous move. Like, that's all we can ask is the recognition that, look, I'm on really old tires. I don't want to be in y'all's way. I don't want to impact the chase. I don't want to impact these chasers. And that's a heads-up move on the driver of the number 11, Chris. But back to the 92. Again, we were kind of split on whether or not we thought he had tires. He's going to be sitting in second. He was running comparable lap times to Aaron Smith on that last run. So this is going to re-rack him. We've seen where all the drivers stand, I believe, at this point. So all things equal, getting ready for a restart in about a lap and a half, Aaron Smith is going to be your leader. Josh Ward is second. Both of those are chasers. You'll see them noted in yellow on the ticker on the left. Chase Berry going to be sitting third. Scotty Sobczak, another chaser, is going to be on the outside of row 2. Jay Heishman, Sean Johnson, Chris, shout out to these guys making the strategy work to get up there into the top 5. And Jay Heishman looking like he's going to advance in the Butt Kicker Bracket Challenge. Sean Johnson as well. Rye Jones in 7th. Chris Pierce, another chaser in 8th. Wesley Pistol, again, a 9th place run going tonight. Patrick Piper, another top 10 run after finishing in the top 5 last week at Daytona. Chris, Justin Wilson all the way back in 11th position. Evan Pienta 12th. 13th is Danforth. Randy Bechdel, Chris, I feel like might be in the worst position here. One of the worst positions.
Yeah, what happened?
Something I'm not sure.
Looks like he had a slow pit stop.
Road.
17 seconds.
Yeah, Randy Bechdel. That was a big, long pit stop for Randy Bechdel on that last cycle. So not sure what happened to him, but that's going to be what caused him to lose so many positions. Best guess is he overshot his pit or maybe pulled a little bit too close to the wall. We saw Justin Wilson do that earlier in the race, and it was to his detriment. I think we might have seen Randy Bechdel kind of fall to the same fate there. Right now, it's going to be 30 laps left at the 200 laps at Rockingham and the Hank Thomas Performance 200 Apex Energy Truck Series playoffs kicking off tonight. Aaron Smith's going to be your control car. He's elected to go to the outside. Josh Ward is going to be second. We've got a slugfest getting ready to happen right now. Pace car peels off. Aaron Smith is going to mash that throttle. He gets clear of Josh Ward, who's got Scotty Sobczak to worry about on the outside. Chase Berry rolls in third. Josh Ward almost comes to the bumper of Aaron Smith, but he avoids contact. Smith gets away clean. Josh Ward second. Now he's got Scotty Sobczak to the inside. Down into turn number 2. Sobczak on the inside. Ward on the outside. Ward looks to Chan. Oh, Ward loose off the corner. He somehow hangs on to it, but he's still got Sobczak and Berry underneath him to worry about. Chris, the driver of that number 92, is driving his guts out right now. Meanwhile, Aaron Smith is pulling away a little bit. Ward's going to be able to clear Sobczak, who is a little bit loose off of turn number 2. Chase Berry to the outside. Sean Johnson having a good run in 5th position right now in that Royal Crown. Oh, Chase Berry into the wall off of turn 4. That 32 RC Cola car having a good run. I'm getting thirsty for some soda right now. Rye Jones in 6th position, Chris. 7th is Chris Pierce. Justin Wilson's going to be a truck we're keeping an eye on. He's been one of the fastest ones all night. He's got fresh tires looking to work his way through the field. Can you have patience at this point if you're Justin Wilson, Chris?
Not a chance. Got to go for it now because it's hard to complete passes. We've seen that all night. If you try to get to the inside of some other driver, and if he has some type of competent speed, he can hold you off by having that momentum up on the top and utilizing that momentum. So you got to go if you're Justin Wilson.
Justin Wilson on the move back here, 8th position. He's got a hamster wheel of cars in front of him with Rye Jones, Sean Johnson, and Chris Pierce that he's trying to get through. It's a moving roadblock. It's got to be really frustrating if you know you've got a slightly faster car to have these guys in front of you, but they've got fast trucks as well, Chris. These cars have rocket boosters underneath them right now as they head down the back straightaway. Sean Johnson, I don't know where that truck has come from, but he is putting on a great run here in the closing stages in that RC truck. Wesley Pistol behind them in 9th. Evan Pienta rounds out the top 10. Chris, I'm seeing Scotty Sobczak drop back a little bit. How much how much do you think tires are affecting this? You're only 4 laps in. We saw him a little bit faster than this earlier on. What could kind of have changed in that truck over the course of 150 laps or so?
Well, I don't know if necessarily the truck changes, but the track definitely changes. Maybe it's just not, suiting his driving style as well as it was before. You brought up Sean Johnson earlier. Where did he come from? He is on the same, or he was, I should say, on the same pit strategy as Chase Berry, Aaron Smith, Jay Haishman, Josh Ward, all those guys. So he gained a lot of track position on that previous run where he's able to come up through the field. Now on this final run where everybody's on equal footing in a way, he's got to maintain it now. He's got to maintain it, and he's got to try to maintain the position for a top 10 finish right here as just in front of him, Justin Wilson trying to gain the 6th spot from Chris Pierce.
Yeah, Justin Wilson trying to work on the inside of Chris Pierce. Pierce not giving it up easily, though. Gets a good run off of turn 2. Justin Wilson in that white and purple truck sails it off into turn number 3. You can see he gets really close to the back bumper. Just doesn't have enough speed to make the pass in that corner. He'll try it down again in turn 1. This time both drivers elect to take the outside. It's Wilson in the second position in the frame. It's Chris Pierce, who are riding on board right now in that number 65, looking out the back to Justin Wilson. You can see Wilson ducks to the inside here. Can he make it stick? We've seen this move work and not work over the course of the evening. He makes it stick, but he can't draw even with Chris Pierce. He'll try it one more time down into turn number 1. Evan Pienta, Chris, is another truck that we're seeing who's on he's on the same tire strategy. He's got fresh tires as much as everyone else, Chris. He's moved up into the 8th position. That number 55 has got a bit of a charge going here in the last 20 laps that he's working on, trying to improve his position in the chase standings.
Yeah, he's really moving up right here, and that caution was a big break for him. He's currently, like you said, he has moved up into the top 10 here, really rolling really well on the bottom. It was like he's got a fair bit of speed right here, and as some of these drivers have migrated towards the top, that has opened up the bottom to maybe be, a little bit cooler, maybe a little bit rolling the bottom a little bit easier than it is to roll the top at this point. You'll see a lot of changes with the track ever since this oval refresh, and maybe that's something that Evan is using to his benefit right now.
A lot of drivers you mentioned migrating up to the top. Really interesting lines kind of developing as this race goes on. Just checking back up front, Chris, Aaron Smith still clear out in the lead by about 10 car lengths. One thing I'm noticing, though, those lap times are staying consistent between Ward and Smith, and Chase Berry is running the fastest laps of the race right now, Chris. That time by, he was faster than Aaron Smith and Josh Ward. The number 46 is making a march through the field. Who would have thought it? This is the first non-chase driver in the field. In fact, he's only one of 3 non-chase drivers in the top 10 right now. But that number 46 machine is lit up. You can watch the battle forecast. Not closing quick enough to make a pass on Josh Ward quite yet, but the speeds are there, especially if he can hold on to those tires over the course of this run, Chris. One other thing we need to talk about, Aaron Smith going to have to contend with a little bit of lap traffic. We see Tony Caputo getting right now down to the apron to allow the 70 truck of Smith by. Driver's doing a good job right now as we monitor corner entry speeds and roll speeds from Chase Berry compared to Josh Ward. We see Josh Ward give up a little bit on the exit of turn 4. Chase Berry, slightly different line here. Talk about how Chase Berry's rolling that corner down, kind of down off turn number 2, down the back straightaway, Chris.
Yeah, he's really focusing on trying to make that straightaway as long as he can, and he's going to get to the inside of Ward. Now, the problem that he's going to have down here is Ward being up on the top. He can utilize that momentum. You see how he's able to clear him right there off of turn 4. Let's watch him down here in 1 and 2, though. I really like his line down here. He's running that middle, and he's kind of waiting late to bring it back to the bottom. Josh Ward did a really nice job through 1 and 2 that time, and he was able to counter.
Really loose. Sorry, right, not too far behind them.
Yeah, Evan Pienta battling right here with Wesley Pistol for the 8th spot. Looks like that's going to settle itself out. But, yeah, we'll keep on watching this battle for second right here. We'll watch Chase Berry down here in 1 and 2. Yeah, he's back up. He's higher this time. Now, let's see if he can get that run down the hill. He's not quite going down, and I think a lot of it is just we're on these fresher tires like this. I mean, you can really see him close up on the straightaway.
Oh, yeah. Huge runs that number 46 is getting off the corner right now, but just not close enough to make the pass. This might be it. He's going to get a huge run Does he take advantage? Oh, look at Josh Ward mirror driving there. Hey, the gloves are off here in the final 15 laps or so. Josh Ward doing a good job of mirror driving, keeping Chase Berry at bay. Can't really do much with that move right there as Chase Berry moves to the inside, down into turn number 3. 46 truck's a little bit loose coming up on the lap car of Matt Kuntz right now. Ward's got the advantage. Several battles going on throughout the field right now. Josh Ward, Chris, sitting in the second position. If you had told me that number 92 would have been sitting there at the beginning of the race, Chris, based on that first incident we saw on lap number 10, I would have not believed it. But comeback of the race for sure. Give that man an Apex Energy Hard Charger Award for all the passes he's completed. I'm going to be curious to see how many quality passes he had over the course of the day today at Rockingham, because that 92 is on rails here the last half of the race.
Yeah, it really is, and he's done a nice job. Great job of recovering from that early trouble. I think that he's doing a really nice job of making sure that.
Sorry, I saw tire smoke going on right in front of this. We're all clear. Go ahead. My apologies.
It's all good, and I think he's doing a really nice job of making sure that Chase doesn't get to his outside where he doesn't want him to get to the outside. I think that if Chase Berry ever got to the outside of Josh Ward on the exit of 4, I think it would be all over with. I think that, if Chase could ever roll the top down here in 3 and 4 and ever get to the top side of the 92, I think he would have position and he would have Josh Ward at his mercy, basically. But Josh is doing a nice job of making sure that he drives it in so deep into turn 3 that Chase cannot get to his outside.
He's doing this is a masterclass in strategic driving in racecraft over the final closing laps and tenacity that we've seen from the driver of the 92. Just 9 laps left. Couple of comments in the chat. We got people talking about Happy Easter to you, Julie, as well. Moki. Don Hilburn says, been great racing tonight. Brittany Garvey says, loving the Royal Farms theme colors on Matt Kuhn's car in the number 13. We've seen that car going a lap down, but it's good looking out there. Brendan, what is going on with the Royal Farms? What do you know about it? Let us know what it is. We've been curious, but we've never actually looked it up. Let us know in the chat what's going on with that. Couple of other races going on right now, Chris. Again, I keep on saying how surprised I am with how crazy the racing has been in a good way tonight. Randy Bechdel, he's got to be running out of patience, running in the 9th position. Randy ran top 5 most of the race, was positioned in second. He's second in the point standings coming into Rockingham tonight to kick off the chase. Sitting in 9th, he's got a fast truck, but he is having trouble making his way through the field, having to be very methodical as we watch him work his way underneath Wesley Pistol here, the number 51. Pistol's going to relinquish that 8th position over to Bechdel. Bechdel's going to set his sights on Chris Pierce next as Pierce does duel with the number 11 of Dustin Scruggs, who's a lap down on those old tires. But you can see how much time Bechdel was able to gain simply with Pierce getting held up with the number 11 for about half a corner, Chris.
Yeah, Randy's been kind of done in, I think, by whatever happened on that pit stop that caused him to lose the time that he lost there. The cautions I don't think flew the way that he needed them to. He's had better speed than 8th place tonight, but unfortunately, just sometimes lady luck doesn't shine on you on the racetrack. And but if you're Randy and you got the points that you've got coming into tonight, you're not. This is not a nail in the coffin by any means. We're going to Sonoma next week. Randy gets around the road courses really well, so. Wouldn't be a bit surprised at all to see him rebound with a possible victory next week.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now, running 8th, going for 7th, that's no slouch, right? We've seen Randy Bechdel have bad luck, and if this is the worst run he has all playoffs, then, hey, I think most guys probably would take that. But when you're racing against guys like Aaron Smith, Scotty Sobczak, and Josh Ward, and everyone else, the level of competition in this field this season has been the biggest we've seen, Chris. And we mentioned 5 flawless races is what it's going to take likely to win the Apex Energy Truck Series Championship presented by Hank Thomas Performance in that UD Awards Championship trophy. And I know Randy's got to be getting frustrated, but right, Justin Wilson having flashbacks there of Miami from last season in the Xfinity cars. Rye Jones running into the back of Justin Wilson. This is a battle for the 6th position. These are both chase drivers right now. Rye Jones running 6th.
Oh, a slide job. Oh, as Ward tags the wall. Man, Chase Berry slid up in front of Josh Ward right there, took his line away from him.
And all's fair in love and war. We've seen this battle going on for the past couple of laps between Barry and Ward, now starting to get a little bit heated as drivers start throwing blocks on each other, Chris. Meanwhile, while this battle's going on back there between Barry and Ward, that opens the door for Sobczak. We got a three-way battle going on for second, but it's second place, all behind right now Aaron Smith, who's just a lap away from converting a gamble on tire strategy into a win here as he winds his way through turn number 3 and 4. He's going to walk on to win race number 1 of the chase for the championship here at Rockingham. Barry's going to hold on for second. Ward's going to be third. Sobczak is going to be fourth. Aaron Smith wins it at Rockingham. And Chris, wow, this race had a lot going on. We tried to do our best to explain it, but Aaron Smith played the tire strategy perfectly tonight. We'll talk to him about that here in the Victory Lane interview here in a moment. We're also going to hear from Chase Berry as well as Josh Ward as we watch the 70 do his burnout down the front straightaway and celebrate that win to kick off the season number 6 chase for the championship. Give us just a second as we watch him do that burnout. We'll bring in our third place finisher, Josh Ward, here in just a moment. All right, Josh Ward, sorry I had to drag you through several channels. Discord is being a little uncooperative for me, but driver the number 92, Josh Ward, this is Ellis and Chris in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Wow, congratulations on, I told Chris near the end of the broadcast, man, if you told me that number 92 truck was going to finish in the top 3 after that first 10 laps of the race based on everything that had kind of happened, I would have laughed it off, but talk to us. Let's start there. What happened at the beginning of this race to draw out the first caution where you suffered some damage?
I think me and the 25 were just pretty close, probably too close for lap 6, but I was right on the wall and he was holding me pretty tight. So I don't remember exactly what happened. We just got into each other, but just a racing deal. I mean, not too much damage. I was able to recover and hope he was too. I don't think there was anything egregious there.
What was kind of the game plan? What was the biggest difficulty you had of working your way through the field? We saw some tire strategy play a role, obviously, in getting you back up to the top 5. What was that call you made? Walk us through the decision you made in terms of that tire strategy tonight, when you took them and when you didn't.
My truck still has almost, I think it was like 2.5 minutes of optional repairs left from the first caution. So I kind of knew that I didn't have the speed in the car to beat the guy straight up, so just kind of had to roll the dice and play a card to try to get up front, and ended up working. It was a pretty good little race at the end too with Chase. I don't know if I got into him or not, but we were both getting into the wall, and I know he was faster, and he stayed off of me. He raced it very clean, so a lot of respect for that, and congratulations to Aaron.
It was a great battle to watch there at the end, Josh. And, man, this is going to do wonders. You came into the chase 6th kind of on the reset. I think we're going to see you move up a couple of positions. We saw you have 2 wins earlier in the season. What track are you looking forward to most as an opportunity to really insert yourself into that championship conversation, the final 4 races of the season?
I actually really like this track a lot. I was really looking forward to this. It's kind of a shame that I had that much damage because I think I would have had a lot more speed in the car. But I just kind of take it on as a race-to-race basis. I don't look at points very much. I'd love to win a championship one day, but just take it 1 week at a time, have fun with it. We got a lot of pretty good drivers in here, so I just enjoy the competition every week.
All right, man. Well, congrats, Josh, on a great third-place finish. Got any shout-outs before we let you go celebrate the podium?
LN cart, it's on the side of my car. I race for Brandon George Crack Racing, and they have helped me a lot in the real world and a little bit on here too. So appreciate those guys, and you guys are putting on the league, and just everybody we race with. We just seemed like we made some changes in the middle of the season that did pretty well, and ended up being a very good race. So a lot of respectful drivers out here.
Good deal, man. Glad to hear it. Glad you had a good night. Talk to you later, Josh Ward.
Thank you.
All right, so we heard from Josh Ward. We're going to hear from second place finisher Chase Berry right now. I'll bring him in.
Oh.
All right,
Chase Berry.
you're the podcast dude.
Our second place finisher tonight. This is Slingshot Booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you. What you guys up to?
Man, not much. We just looking at you out here, man. We couldn't believe the charge up through the field that we saw that 46 truck make tonight. And I called your slide job there at the end. I didn't quite do it like on Dale Jr. levels, but we did call the slide job. So, man, talk us through your night, man. You seems like you nailed the strategy perfect, and you had your tires there on that next to last stint right there, and that seemed to really gain you a lot of track position.
Oh yeah, it was definitely it was a crapshoot for me. I hated by the time the white flag came out, I hated this place. I couldn't figure it out. I could not figure it out. I'd save tires, but it was so slow. Burn them up, so whatever. So we did that long run at the beginning of the race. It's like, all right, whatever. I ain't got nothing for these guys. Boom. Whatever. Got stuck a lap down. Then whenever that caution came out, pitted and was able to make it to the end and drove from the back to the front. Surprising, I have no idea. And then had that heck of a battle with Josh, which was freaking awesome. It's fun to race people with, respect and trying to, get it back also.
Yeah, tell us about that move. That was a pretty impressive slide job that you put on him there.
I think he touched the wall for 4, and I hear Justin in the background like, "You better slide." See, I'm about to cut. You better slide him. And so I throw it in there. He's like, "Better throw it in there." So I threw it in there, and I'm sorry if I put him in the wall, but I felt faster, and I really didn't want to mess up because I know he's in the playoffs, I think. I wasn't trying to put people in a bad position, but that was fun. All the good stuff, and then burned my tires up, so I didn't have anything for Aaron.
It was definitely good hard racing right there between you two, and it was a great move to grab that second spot right there. You mentioned not being in the chase, but you do have a good opportunity next weekend at Sonoma. How do you rate your chances at the road course out in California?
It depends. I mean, depends if how it's gonna go. I mean, I don't know. I can't get the feel of these trucks. Like it's just like the trucks are like on skates, just not in the track. So it's a weird in my driving style that I don't like. But it also depends on if people are gonna send it from 3 or 4 car lengths back, on you or not like that. So I mean, it could be a crapshoot and it could go well for us. I know. So who knows? I mean, top 10 hopefully is what I'm looking for. I guess it's all about bracket now. So just beating whoever's next to me in the bracket at this point.
We'll definitely have our eyes on you next weekend because we'll know that you'll be one to beat before the end of the race.
No, I ain't got nothing for Aaron. Let's be honest here. I ain't got nothing for Aaron or Justin, or Chris, or all them guys. Lost a lot. So probably about 6th, 7th, 6th through 10th. That's where I'll be at.
We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see till you get out there. Any shout outs you want to give before we let you go here tonight?
Oh, yeah. You guys putting us on, and all the guys at Payday, and everybody else who hates us, and Josh, racing, that was fun, had a blast, it's fun running with respectful people who race you clean and try to get back. Other than that, I mean, yeah, we're going to go have some fun.
Congratulations, man. Hey, that's Chase Bear, second place finisher. Chase, go celebrate this run, bud.
Bye. Will do.
All right, Chris. So we talked about mixing it up a little bit. I'm going to drop this one on you, but I want to bring in someone else before we get to the winner, Aaron Smith. Try to give some other opportunities to drivers who aren't normally in the top 3. Going to hear from James Danforth. I want to bring him in. We'll talk to him together. James Danforth, driver the number 88. This is Ellison Chris in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
I do.
Hey, man, congratulations. I know you're not in the chase this season, but, man, you are the epitome of a hard charger each week. We see you start, 20th on back and march up to the top 15, top 10 on a regular basis. 12th place finish tonight. You moved up 12 positions over the course of the race. Talk to us about the racing that we saw out here tonight. This is some of the best racing we've seen all season. What was your experience with it out there?
Yeah, I'd say that was probably the most fun I've had all season racing. Lap cars made it challenging, but that was part of it, I guess.
How did you do with tire wear?
I did pretty good on the first run. Second run, I used it up, and then that last run, I was a little bit better than the second run.
Is there a track that you're looking forward to the most in the final 4 races of the season that you think you can really excel at?
I like Sonoma, but I don't think I'm gonna be terribly good there. But Darlington is my favorite.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of people's favorite, man. We're going to be looking forward to watching that 88 out there on track at Darlington. Hey, before we let you go, any shout-outs you want to throw out there?
Not really.
Hey, a man, a few words, a man after my own heart. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate you having a good run out there. Appreciate you joining us for a moment. We'll let you get back to the waiting room. And James Danforth, congrats.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Thanks, man.
All right, winner of the race tonight, the Hank Thomas Performance 200, driver of that HTP number 70, Aaron Smith. Congratulations, man. Got a copy?
Yeah, I've got you.
Well, we had talked about it. Chris said it. I didn't. I'm just going to tell you. Chris was the one who said it. He said Aaron Smith doesn't have a chance tonight.
I did not say that. He's a liar.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I was
we were both talking. We were both talking about the tire strategy was going to have to play out to your advantage. You were going to have to take kind of a gamble. You saved a set there. It could have gone wrong, but it didn't. Walk us through kind of that phase of the race for you where you made that decision to stay out and lock several drivers a lap down.
Yeah,
was it intentional to do that? Was it to lock some drivers a lap down?
No, because my teammate was one of them. I got Patrick stuck a lap down, but I knew that I was going to be a 6th or 7th place truck there after the first run. Didn't really have the speed. Like I mentioned last week, I've never really been able to find the line here, so I defaulted to the bottom. But just something about the race. I don't know if it was the energy in the second half that kind of had me thinking we'd get another caution. But yeah, fortunately I was right, and I was able to take advantage of that set of tires I had left over, and I was able to drive past everybody. Everyone was very courteous and letting me by, but I got lucky, and it played out in my favor.
You had a good run. You had a lot of speed all night, right? But there was a point where you had to make that choice to take a bit of a gamble, and it worked out for you. You are going to hold on to the points lead, most definitely, with this victory. What do you have to do over the next 4 races if you're going to stay there and claim your 3rd Slingshot Racing championship?
I just need to do what I've been doing all season. If I can't win the races, I got to top 5 the field to death. But if I can keep getting lucky the way I did tonight and cross all the T's, dot all the I's, I think I'll have it. I'm looking forward to hopefully hopping back in here next week. Sonoma's going to be a really fun race, and I'm looking forward to all of that. We have a solid group of drivers. It's going to be fun.
I think all the drivers are a little bit scared of you at Sonoma after the butt whooping you put on them at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park earlier this season. So, man, before we let you go celebrate this victory, you got any shout-outs?
Yeah, I'd like to thank all the folks at the Slingshot Racing League for putting this on, y'all for broadcasting, as well as Hank Thomas Performance, Apex Energy, Sim Racing Concepts, Evan Panta Designs, UD Awards, Butt Kicker, and the Stage Break Podcast for their support. This time next week.
Chris, he's putting us to shame with his sponsor plugs.
He really is.
He knows it better than we do.
I got to defend myself a little bit, Aaron. I don't think I said it quite the way that Ellis said it. I think I said.
Oh, he's backtracking now. He's backtracking.
I think I said something along the lines of Aaron doesn't quite have the speed tonight, so this is maybe a little bit of a move to try to put himself in position. So, yeah, kind of like along the lines of what you said.
Yeah, you were right. Like I said, the Golden Horseshoe had to come out.
Well,
hopefully, won't have to bring it out again.
Yeah, sometimes that works out for you, and it worked out for you tonight.
You take them how you can get them. Congratulations, man. We'll let you go celebrate.
All right. Thank you.
See ya. Hopefully I'm not going to get an earful from you after the race about throwing you under the bus like that. But, Chris, man, I appreciate it. This race had a lot of everything. Lots of passing. We had some cautions. We had some close racing, a lot of rubbing going on out there. Tire strategy. We saw several drivers lead throughout the race. We saw lots of different passes on track. Lots of stuff going on out there. I wanted to check the results to see how many. We had 11 lead changes with several different leaders tonight. So lots of parity, competitiveness throughout the field. Man, we are headed next week over to Sonoma. We had mentioned it a couple times. It's going to be a great race. Aaron Smith's going to be fast, but a lot of other guys are going to be fast too. I'd imagine we're going to see a lot of practicing going on the road course with making some right turns over the course of this week for a lot of drivers. And for all the fans who tuned in tonight, appreciate every single one of you. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, that thumbs up button also, do both of those. It doesn't cost you a thing. Helps us gain even more viewers for the drivers that you are growing to love. If you don't have the notification bell icon checked as well, make sure you do that so you know every time we're going live. Chris, I think we're going live tomorrow night, same time, 8:30 Eastern time, with some sports car action, not on a road course, but on an oval at Dover, the Miatas, the MX-5s. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be like a restrictor plate race. Race number 2 of the Spring Classic MX 5-on-5 series. Whole different type of racing. We've got Johnny Rapp and Evan Pienta doing a great job in the broadcast booth. We had some technical difficulties last week. We got those figured out. It's going to be a great race tomorrow night. Tune in, show that broadcast crew some love, tell them we sent you. And folks, until next week, we hope everyone has a great week. Oh, yeah,
I'm sorry,
go ahead.
Ellis.
Did I forget?
Yeah, Dawn Hilbrun's asked if she missed the trivia question. I don't think that we went over that, did we? I don't think we answered it.
Oh, we didn't. Good point. Good catch.
Before we get out of here, we'll let Dawn know she's right.
I do remember. I remember her saying Talladega Nights. Is that
she did?
Is that
and there's 2, isn't there?
There is 2. So Don, you got one of them.
Yeah.
The other one, Chris, you got to guess.
I got to guess. I don't think it's right. It's one of 2. I'm gonna go with Stroker Ace.
Good try, but no. What's your other
Days of Thunder?
guess? Days of Thunder is the correct answer.
Yeah. I knew it was either one of those 2. Yeah.
Don, appreciate you holding us accountable. Things got crazy. We forgot about it. Everyone, we appreciate you. Hopefully, we'll see you tomorrow night for the MX-5 race at 8:30 Eastern Time. If we don't, we'll catch you for race number 2 of the chase next Tuesday, same time, same channel, Sonoma. Everyone, have a great week for Slingshot Racing. I'm Ellis Thomas, Chris Smith in the booth.